In her previous life, Sheng Mimi stayed up late working overtime every day until she finally worked herself to death. When she opened her eyes again, she had been reborn as a young lady of the Sheng family. She received monthly spending money and even had a maid to serve her. This was a life she had never dared dream of before, so she immediately chose to take it easy. But her legitimate elder sister had also been reborn. No matter what, she refused to marry into the illustrious Marquis' household. So Sheng Mimi's legitimate mother set her sights on Mimi and wanted her to marry in her sister's place. Sheng Mimi could not have wished for anything better. Heaven really treated her well. It had sent money to her door again. Yet on the surface, she pretended to be troubled. "Madam, this is a serious matter. Will father agree?" "Madam," Sheng gritted her teeth, "all 88 chests of dowry will be yours, including the 200 mu of farmland inside, and the 3 shops in the capital. I'll handle your father." That was right. Madam Sheng feared offending the Marquis' household. Otherwise, she would never have offered so much. So Sheng Mimi decisively put on the wedding gown and married in her sister's place. The grand bridal procession shocked the entire capital. Many people were curious. Wasn't this the eldest young lady's marriage agreement? Why had the bride suddenly changed? Her personal maid was very worried. "Miss, although the Marquis of Chongren's household is powerful and influential, 7 years ago, the young Marquis brought a pair of boy and girl twins back to the residence. You'll have to be their stepmother. The young Marquis has also been stationed at the border for years and still hasn't returned. Do you really want to marry him?" Sheng Mimi replied that of course she would marry him, and she was determined to do so. Sitting in the bridal sedan, her face was full of joy. Who said this Marquis' household was bad? This marriage was simply perfect. Madame Sheng had never liked her, a concubine-born daughter, and even her food and clothing depended on Madame Sheng's mood. Even if she spent her whole life scraping by as a concubine-born daughter in the Sheng residence, she would never get a dowry like this. Thinking about it another way, once she married in, she would be the mistress of a noble household. Not only would she gain children without childbirth pain, she would have both a son and a daughter. After pulling off this big deal, she would not have to worry about food or money for the rest of her life. Her maid was not so optimistic. "Miss, those 2 children in the Marquis' household are truly extremely unruly. The eldest young lady must have heard about them and worried she would be bullied after going there, so she changed her mind. Otherwise, why would she give up such a good marriage?" When Sheng Mimi heard that, her gossip instincts were stirred. "Tell me quickly." The Marquis' household and the Sheng family had arranged this marriage long ago, but that side quietly brought back 2 children. They even directly recognized them as legitimate descendants. It truly showed no regard for the Sheng family. Later, the Marquis' household actually proposed canceling the engagement, but at that time, the eldest young lady insisted on marrying, so the agreement was kept. Now, even she had changed her mind. Those 2 children must be very difficult to deal with. Sheng Mimi comforted the maid. "Don't worry, I'll act according to the situation." In her mind, she pondered what she would do if the Marquis' household refused a bride swap and threw her out. Forget it. In any case, she had made up her mind to go to the Marquis' household and earn money. No matter how difficult it was, she had to stay. Suddenly, the bridal sedan stopped, and the bustling street instantly fell silent. It turned out the Pacification Bureau's men were patrolling, so they had to wait. Sheng Mimi feared missing the auspicious hour, which would make it even harder to enter the Marquis' household. She could not help lifting the sedan window curtain and looking over. The Pacification Bureau was the most frightening place in the Great Yu Dynasty, directly under the emperor's jurisdiction. It was the only department with the authority to execute first and report afterward. The masked man at the head of the group was the Bureau's commander. It was said that he was exceptionally cold and ruthless and had killed countless people. He was someone everyone in the capital paled at the mention of. Sheng Mimi was also startled by the powerful aura he cast over when he looked her way. After forcing herself to meet his gaze for 1 second, she slunk back inside. His eyes were terrifying. She could not afford to provoke him. She prayed that this plague god would hurry up and make way, and not delay her auspicious hour. Soon, the procession resumed. When they reached the Marquis of Chongren's residence, the thing she had worried about did not happen. Instead, many stewards were waiting at the gate to welcome the sedan and hold the blessing ceremony for the newlywed. It seemed the Marquis' household had agreed to the bride swap. Sitting in the sedan, Sheng Mimi heard two extremely arrogant children's voices from the flower bushes nearby. Sister, they're almost done reciting. She's about to get out of the sedan. When the time comes, I'll set firecrackers off under her backside and use scatter beans under her feet so she falls to her death. If she wants to enter our marquee of Chongren's residence, she'll have to ask whether I, Ning Yaoyang, agree. Sheng Mimi inwardly exclaimed, well, well, these two little brats wanted to make her embarrass herself and give her a show of force. Just then, two wedding matrons opened the sedan curtain. Madam, please. At this point, even though Sheng Mimi knew the two little ones intended to make a move against her, she could only step out of the sedan and adapt as she went. When the two little ones saw her leave the sedan, they indeed began itching to act. Taking advantage of the festive noise, the little boy grabbed a handful of soybeans and scattered them under Sheng Mimi's feet. The two wedding matrons in front of her slipped before they noticed and panicked. What's going on? The bride mustn't fall. Sheng Mimi braced herself on the wedding matron's shoulder and used the force to leap, instantly moving away from the danger of falling. She sneered inwardly. Such petty tricks. She had practiced 8-section brocade for many years. She was not someone to be trifled with. The two little ones were shocked. Brother, she didn't fall. She's fine. Watch me. I still have another move. Relying on her 8-section brocade skills, Sheng Mimi successfully avoided the two children's first show of force. Seeing that, the two little ones were not discouraged. It did not matter that she had not fallen. They still had another move to deal with her. With the danger removed, the wedding continued. The housekeeper presented a jade pendant. Madam, this is the young Marquis's birth jade pendant. It also represents him personally. Later, please hold it while bowing in the wedding ceremony. Sheng Mimi nodded and accepted it. She felt that bowing with a jade pendant was much better than bowing with a rooster. While she was distracted, the little boy suddenly rushed out and bumped into her. Bad woman, give back my father's jade pendant. The jade pendant in Sheng Mimi's hand flew out from the impact. She wanted to catch it, but it was too late. She could only watch helplessly as the jade pendant shattered into 4 or 5 pieces. The little child laughed at the sight. His second show of force had succeeded. Now she could not complete the wedding bows, right? Sheng Mimi was so angered by this naughty child that her fists tightened. This brat had done nothing proper all morning and kept making trouble for her. It was time to let the little one experience society's harsh beating. She reached out and laid the little boy across her lap. Then, with loud thunder but little rain, she slapped his backside. This is for scattering beans. This is for breaking my husband's jade pendant. The little boy had always been domineering and had never been treated like this before. He howled, "You crazy woman, do you know who I am? You dare beat me?" Sheng Mimi's hands moved faster. I don't care who you are. If I don't beat your backside blooming today, then I don't deserve to be your vicious stepmother. Let me go. I won't, unless you admit your mistake. The wedding hall instantly became lively. Everyone in the Marquis's household stared at this scene, dumbfounded. Her father-in-law and mother-in-law were also full of amazement. They had never expected this girl to be so formidable. It was the first time they had ever seen that little rascal Ning Yaoyang suffer. Seeing that it was about enough, they quickly stepped forward. Good daughter-in-law, stop for now. Let's finish the wedding first and discipline the child later. Naturally, she had to give face to her in-laws, so Sheng Mimi immediately stopped. The little boy pretended to be wronged and pitifully tugged at the old Marchioness. Grandmother, my sister and I don't want a stepmother. Stepmothers are all bad people. They won't give us food and will abuse us. It's fine if she abuses me, but if she abuses my sister, I, Ning Yaoyang, absolutely won't allow it. The child spoke vividly, but the old Marchioness only sighed and ordered the maids to take the little boy away so he would not cause more trouble. Let go of me. I will never acknowledge this vicious stepmother. In the end, the little boy still could not struggle free and was taken away. Then Sheng Mimi smoothly completed the wedding bows. The old Marchioness held Sheng Mimi's hand and grew more satisfied the more she looked at her. Good child, today our household has truly wronged you. We will not fuss over your marrying in as a substitute. Since you have married into our residence, from now on, you are the mistress of the Marquis's household. From now on, live peacefully and well in our household. Sheng Mimi had not expected a blessing in disguise. The two elders had actually acknowledged her. In the years since she had transmigrated into the Sheng family, she had rarely enjoyed such warmth. Her heart warmed. Mimi thanks father and mother for your understanding. The old Marquis and his wife had originally had some objections to the last-minute bride swap, but seeing that Sheng Mimi could actually subdue knew that brat Yao Yang. They accepted the substitution and even felt fortunate. They even thought they might as well seize the chance. They would have Sheng Mimi discipline the two children more strictly. Perhaps she really could make them change their unruly natures. Mimi, you did well today. You saw Yao Yang and Jiao Yue today too. They have been spoiled beyond measure. We husband and wife plan to travel far away to visit our daughter, who married to Yangzhou. From today onward, this household will be handed to you to manage. Sheng Mimi was dumbfounded. Father, mother, isn't this a little too soon? She had entered the residence aiming for the position of mistress of a noble household and the 30 taels of monthly spending money. Having to manage the household the moment she entered the door had not been part of her plan. The old Marquis and his wife decisively made the decision. You are a new bride, yet you already have to work hard managing the household and the children. This is indeed making things difficult for you. How about this, Mimi? If you manage the household, your monthly allowance will increase by another 30 taels. If you manage the children too, we'll add another 40 taels. Sheng Mimi did the math. 100 taels a month meant 1,200 taels a year. That was as much as a low-ranked official's yearly salary. If she managed for only 3 years, she could afford a large residence in the capital at a discount. She accepted with solemn righteousness. Father, mother, please go out with peace of mind. Leave the household to me. I will certainly manage the 2 children and all major and minor affairs of the household properly. Afterward, Sheng Mimi moved into the courtyard of her husband, Ning Jingma, whom she had never met. As expected, it was luxurious and imposing. She also instructed her maid to inventory the dowry she had brought from the Sheng family and put it all into her private storeroom. Mine, her good days were finally coming. She planned to move into a row of rooms in the outer part of the courtyard, leaving the main rooms for Ning Jingma to use if he brought back a favored concubine someday. She still had that much self-awareness. If she wanted to gain a foothold in the Marquis' household, she had to put in some effort. So she summoned Steward Liu and asked him to compile the residence's account books and personnel registers for her. From now on, all major and minor affairs of the household had to be reported to her. Thus, Sheng Mimi spent the whole night sorting through the personnel relationships in the Marquis' household. She knew very clearly that if she wanted to establish herself there, recognition from only the old Marquis and his wife would not be enough. She had to make everyone willing to acknowledge her identity. Only then would she truly have the right to speak. And so she worked all night. She had only slept for a short while when her maid woke her. This is bad, madam. Young master and young miss are staging a hunger strike. Sheng Mimi calmly responded. Those little brats, they're throwing a tantrum. Or maybe they think they can threaten the adults. Take me there. When Sheng Mimi arrived at Return to Snow Tower, where the 2 little children live, she heard the little tyrant Ning Yao Yang's angry shouts from afar. I said I'm not eating, so I'm not eating. All of you get away from me. Sheng Mimi walked in with her arms crossed. Ning Yao Yang, I heard that because you couldn't beat me, you decided to go on hunger strike. Is that true? Ning Yao Yang instantly bristled and pounced toward Sheng Mimi with bared teeth and claws. Bad woman, what did you say? Say it again, if you dare. Sheng Mimi turned slightly, making the little boy pounce at empty air. Then she showed her household management token and said with a smile, Ning Yao Yang, I am your mother now. If you attack me again, that is grave, unfilial conduct. Your grandfather and grandmother have handed the authority to manage the household to me. If you disrespect me, I can punish you however I like. Hearing this, the 2 little children felt as if the sky had collapsed. They immediately retorted, You're lying. Grandfather and grandmother would never hand household authority to a bad woman like you. Sheng Mimi shook the housekeeper's token. Your grandfather and grandmother have already set off for Yangzhou to visit your eldest aunt. They were just afraid you would cry and make a scene if you knew. The 2 little children refused to believe it. Impossible. You're lying. At that moment, the maids happened to bring breakfast over. Sheng Mimi deliberately acted as if she wanted to snatch it. So many delicious things. How about this? Since your young master wants to go on a hunger strike, just leave a little for Jiao Yue. Send the rest to my room. Ning Yaoyang bristled again when he heard that. In your dreams, who said I'm going on a hunger strike? This is all our food. I like to see who dares take it. Hurry and set the meal. This young master is going to have breakfast. Sister, hurry and eat. Be careful, or the bad woman will steal it. Then he wolfed it down, clearing half the food in only a few moments. Sheng Mimi pretended to be regretful and said to the servants of Return to Snow Tower, tower. In the future, if your young master wants to go on a hunger strike, don't send food to his courtyard. I am now the managing mistress of the Marquis's household. If he doesn't eat, that means he's saving money for me." Then she walked away with a smile. With just a little bait, they obediently fell for it. How innocent. Handling two little brats was not difficult at all. Ning Yaoyang felt like he was about to explode with anger. "That bad woman infuriates me. The Marquis of Chongren's residence belongs to my grandfather and grandmother. Since when did it become hers? She wishes. That vicious stepmother wants to starve me? Then I'll eat even more. I'll eat 3 meals a day." Little Ning, Jiao Yue glanced at her puffed-up brother. He had said he would go on a hunger strike, yet he had given up before half a day had passed. Seeing her brother choke from eating too fast, she quickly patted his back. "Brother, don't choke. She was deliberately scaring you." After Ning Yaoyang recovered, his momentum returned. "Right, sister. I saw her holding the household token. She's just a daughter from the Hanlon family. She definitely doesn't know how to manage a household. Let's hurry and follow her to watch her make a fool of herself." Mimi only pretended not to notice the 2 little brats following her. She ordered all servants in the residence to gather in front of Return to Tranquility Hall. They were to line up according to rank. After they stood in formation, some people whispered in the crowd, "I heard the new madam is a concubine-born daughter of the Sheng family who married in as a substitute. A concubine-born daughter probably never learned how to manage a household at home, right? She was made to manage the household the moment she married in. The old madam is truly bold. Yesterday, she even fought with our young master in the wedding hall." Mimi acted as though she had not heard. Only after they finished discussing did she leisurely pick up her teacup. She looked over everyone. "I remember there are 138 servants in the Marquis's household. Today, 110 are on duty and 28 are on leave. Uncle Lou, have those on leave come see me after they return to work tomorrow. I have just taken charge, and without major issues, I will not make sweeping changes. But if I discover anything unreasonable, I will correct it. Our Marquis's household is a wealthy and noble family, and also a family that accumulates virtue. Everyone should perform their duties carefully. I do not wish to see people saying one thing and doing another, lest matters become unpleasant later." Since she had taken the money, she had to do the work. She had spent serious effort studying everything last night. Did these people think they could catch her making mistakes? Then Mimi called out all the managing women and senior nannies by name. At this, no one dared look down on this new madam anymore. On her very first day, she already seemed to know the Marquis's household like the back of her hand. "What instructions does madam have?" Mimi set the teacup on the table. "A few of you are gossiping in the crowd just now, disrespecting me and offending your superior. Slap your mouths 10 times. The few of them quickly knelt and begged for mercy. "Madam, we know we were wrong. We won't dare do it again." Mimi did not want to leave behind a reputation of being weak and easy to bully. Her expression did not change. Slap. The 20-some people did not dare say more and began slapping themselves. Just then, the little tyrant Ning Yaoyang stood forward. "Stop! I'd like to see who dares hit the servants from our courtyard." Seeing this, Mimi smiled. "So they're your servants. Then the few of you need not return to your posts. After you finish slapping yourselves, go do odd jobs in the rear garden." The little tyrant Ning Yaoyang was furious. He had already stepped forward, yet this woman not only refused to give him face, but punished them even more severely. "You bad woman, how dare you?" Mimi's smile did not change. "I am the lawful wife your father, Ning Jingma, married properly. You should call me legitimate mother, or at least madam. You are the dignified, legitimate eldest grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household. Yet every word from your mouth is bad woman. You disrespect your elders and disgrace your father. You disgrace our Marquis's household. Do you understand?" Ning Yaoyang's face turned bright red from her rebuke, and for a moment, he could not find words to retort. Ning Jiuyue stepped forward. "Enough, brother." The little girl was delicate and beautiful, but her expression was cold. "The one engaged to our father was the legitimate eldest young lady of your Hanlon family, not a concubine-born daughter like you. Are you worthy of making us call you legitimate mother?" The first time Mimi faced the little girl, she knew this younger sister was much harder to deal with than Ning Yaoyang. But to her, it was still a small matter. Heroes are not judged by birth. "How am I unworthy? I bowed in marriage with your father and am the mistress of the Marquis's household approved by your grandparents. Whether you acknowledge it or not is not up to you. Of course, you may refuse to call me that and continue calling me bad woman if word spreads outside the residence. People will only mock you for lacking manners. Ning Yaoyang was about to blurt out, bad woman, but after his sister tugged at him, he changed it to, how can you be so thick-skinned? The servants could all see that in the contest between their young masters and the new madam, their young masters had clearly lost. They had no hope, so they began slapping themselves. We were wrong. It was all because of our loose tongues. Please show mercy, madam. We will never dare again. This made Ning Yaoyang even angrier. Wasn't this slapping his face? He was still trying to think of ways to fight the bad woman. Yet the servants on this side had already lost faith in him and surrendered first. So furious that he grabbed his sister and turned to leave. But Sheng Mimi called out to stop them. You two are not allowed to leave yet. Ning Yaoyang turned back and glared fiercely. What do you want now? If you want this young master to call you legitimate mother, that's impossible. It'll never happen in this lifetime. It's useless even if you force me. Sheng Mimi placed an account book in front of the little boy. Every month, you spend 1,000 taels eating and drinking at Drunken Immortal Restaurant. What rare delicacies are you eating to spend that much money? There's also mountain outings, garden trips, listening to opera, and lending money to others. All of this added together is almost several thousand taels. Ning Yaoyang said angrily, so what? Are you going to control how I spend silver too? What does it have to do with you? Sheng Mimi handed the account book to the housekeeper. She had to correct Ning Yaoyang's habit of spending extravagantly and help him establish a proper view of money. Otherwise, if he only thought about squandering the family fortune, how would he have the energy to study and bring honor to his ancestors? She had made a promise in front of the old Marquis and his wife. No matter what, she had to make this boy pass the imperial examinations and earn a title. Housekeeper, from now on, all of eldest young master's abnormal social expenses are canceled. In special circumstances, report to me. Funds may only be released after I approve. The housekeeper accepted the order. Ning Yaoyang was so angry he wanted to attack again. How dare you? I'm not spending your silver. Even my grandfather and grandmother don't control me. Ning Jiyue tightly held back the brother who was about to pounce. Don't be impulsive. Sheng Mimi ignored his anger and deliberately provoked him. You're right. Your grandfather and grandmother don't control you. I'll control you. I'm doing it for our household's reputation too. Spending silver is a small matter. But if later people all laugh at you and say the Marquis of Chongren's household has a fool named Ning Yaoyang who can be taken advantage of, that would be a big matter. Ning Yaoyang took it. Ning Jiayue spoke up protectively. It's true my brother should not spend money recklessly, but some of these are necessary expenses when young masters of noble families go out. You cannot cut everything off. Sheng Mimi's lips curved slightly. The two children disliked her, but they still cared about the Marquis's household's reputation and etiquette. Their sense of ethics was still there. They had not gone completely bad. So she instructed the housekeeper, in the future, all of Yaoyang's abnormal expenses will first be reviewed by your young miss before being reported back to me. Seeing this, Ning Jiayue spoke to take her leave. My brother and I are going to the family school, so we will not disturb Madam any longer. Seeing that she had indirectly acknowledged her status, Sheng Mimi waved with a smile. Go on. Study well. In the distance, Ning Yaoyang puzzledly asked his sister, are you supporting her or me? After the siblings left, the servants respected Sheng Mimi, the new madam, even more. Even eldest young master had suffered in her hands. From now on, they had to perform their duties properly and absolutely could not offend madam. Sheng Mimi had known these two children would not settle down. By a lucky accident, they had even helped her establish authority among the servants. As for the two children's personalities, there would be plenty of time later. She did not expect to teach them well in just a few days. Finally, Sheng Mimi kept two old accountants behind, wanted to understand which shops of the Marquis's household were currently the most profitable. Among the Marquis's household's properties, the pharmacy, pawn shop, and restaurant brought in the most considerable income. In addition, the rouge shop and the clothing shop had also seen increased revenue in recent months. Hearing this, Sheng Mimi pondered. If the three shops the Sheng family gave her as dowry continued like this, not only would they fail to earn money, she might even have to put money into them. She needed to think of a way to change their business and make big money. Just then, a maid came to report that someone from the Sheng family had arrived and requested to see Sheng Mimi. A middle-aged nanny entered the room. It turned out that Madame Sheng had learned Sheng Mimi was now managing the Marquis' household and feared she had never learned these things, which might disgrace the Sheng Hamlin residents. So she had specially sent this nanny over to help her manage the household. Sheng Mimi recognized her as the most capable nanny by Madame Sheng's side. It seemed Madame Sheng saw she had become the mistress of a noble household and still wanted to control and manipulate her. She decisively refused. There is no need to trouble my legitimate mother over this. My father is Hamlin Sheng. Although I am concubine-born, I inherited my father's clever, studious, and capable genes. I can still manage a small matter like household affairs. Even if I cannot, there are plenty of capable stewards here. It is not the Hamlin residence's place to interfere with the Marquis' household's domestic affairs. Housekeeper, see the guest out. The nanny was unwilling, but could only leave. The people of the Marquis' household respected Sheng Mimi even more. Suddenly, an urgent voice came from far away. "This is bad, madam. Young master hit the old teacher at the family school. The teacher asked you to go over immediately." Sheng Mimi helplessly held her forehead. This brat truly would not let anyone relax for even a moment. The two little tyrants of the Marquis' household had made trouble, and by a lucky mistake, helped Sheng Mimi establish authority. Meanwhile, the little tyrant siblings were forced to obey their stepmother and were sent to the family school. The more Ning Yaoyang thought about it, the angrier he became, so he hit the teacher. As his guardian, Sheng Mimi was notified to come clean up the mess. "Teacher, please calm down first. Don't get agitated." The teacher was so angry his beard bristled and his eyes widened. "Who are you? Don't stop me. I want the old Marquis to come here and reason with me. I'd like to ask him how the Marquis' household raised Ning Yaoyang into someone so disrespectful to teachers and so arrogant." Sheng Mimi repeatedly said, "You are right. This is our Marquis' household's fault. We did not teach Ning Yaoyang well. The old Marquis and his wife left the capital yesterday and are not here. I am Ning Yaoyang's legitimate mother. If you have anything to say, please tell me. I will certainly discipline him properly." Hearing this, the furious teacher gradually calmed down. He felt that the Marquis' household mistress had decent temperament, character, and cultivation. He then slowly said, "This old man has taught children and instructed beginners in all the great families of the capital for decades. I have never seen anyone as terrible as Ning Yaoyang. He refused to take his monthly test himself and even disturbed other students answering their papers. When I made him stand in the courtyard as punishment, he pulled up all the flowers and plants and even released the parrot I had raised for over a year. This old man merely intended to discipline him with a ruler, but he was even fiercer than I was. He shoved me to the ground. I cannot teach Ning Yaoyang. Take him back. He need not come to the school for the next few days." Sheng Mimi smiled apologetically and promised, "Please rest assured. I will take him back and certainly make him reflect properly. If he does not reflect well, I will not send him back to the family school." Sheng Mimi's attitude dispelled most of the teacher's anger. He had seen many parents, but this was the first time he had met such a decisive and reasonable mother, one who would not use her status to indulge the child. Rare indeed. After understanding the situation, Sheng Mimi took the teacher's ruler and rushed into the confinement room. "Ning Yaoyang, you little brat, come receive your death." But there was no one inside. Only the rear window was open. Sheng Mimi had now truly witnessed how naughty a naughty child could be. He had hit the old teacher and still dared run away. Just wait and see how she dealt with him. She turned and asked Ning Jiayue, "Little Jiayue, darling, do you know where your brother went?" Ning Jiayue silently shook her head. "I don't know. I'll go look for him." Sheng Mimi patted the little girl's shoulder. "No need. You're not in good health. Attend class peacefully. I'll go find him." After returning to the Marquis' household, she ordered her personal maid to summon all of Ning Yaoyang's young servant followers. "Speak. Where did your young master go? Those who conceal the truth will bear the consequences." The young followers cried out in unison, "Madam, we don't know." Usually, when young master and young miss enter the family school, we young servants can only wait outside the courtyard and are not allowed in. Sheng Mimi did not believe them. She coldly barked, "Think carefully. If you can't think of it, then from now on, don't stay by Ning Yaoyang's side anymore. You can't even grasp your own master's whereabouts. What use is there in keeping you?" Now the young followers no longer wavered. The new madam's thunderous methods on her first day in charge were still fresh in their minds. To keep their jobs, They gave the most likely clue. Recently, eldest young master had raised several powerful crickets. He was very likely at the market fighting crickets with others. Sheng Mimi immediately brought people to the market. Sure enough, the little tyrant Ning Yaoyang was there, and he had even lost a cricket fight. He had lost 200 taels and was being urged by the gambling den's people to pay. What's the rush? This young master has plenty of silver. Do you think I'll default? Ning Yaoyang tossed out a 200-tael banknote. Surrounded by flattery, he was just about to play another round. Suddenly, a shadow loomed over him. You brat, I finally found you. He looked up and saw Sheng Mimi's enlarged face appear before him. His ear was also grabbed by Sheng Mimi. You brat, you dared hit the old teacher, dared skip class, and dared come gamble. So you were hiding private money on you too. Ning Yaoyang screamed like a slaughtered pig. Let go of this young master. The group who had been fighting crickets with Ning Yaoyang looked at Sheng Mimi with ill intentions. Who are you? Don't block our business. Sheng Mimi retorted with no loss of momentum. Who am I? Of course I'm his mother. You dragged my son into cricket fighting and gambling. Be careful, or I'll report you to the authorities. Once she said this, those people quickly distanced themselves. Ning Yaoyang was still yelling, Big brothers, save me. I can still place more bets. Sheng Mimi laughed coldly and confiscated all the money on Ning Yaoyang, putting it into public funds. Without silver, no one tried to keep Ning Yaoyang anymore. Ignoring Ning Yaoyang's shouting, Sheng Mimi dragged him out of the crowd. You vicious stepmother. Let go of this young master. The naughty child Ning Yaoyang, who had skipped class to fight crickets, was dragged back to the residence by Sheng Mimi. Unable to break free, Ning Yaoyang cursed endlessly. You vicious stepmother. Let go of this young master. Sheng Mimi held Ning Yaoyang by the ear and lectured him. You still dare be so arrogant? Watch whether I deal with you when we get back. Just then, a poor scholar carrying a book chest came over. He said to Ning Yaoyang, a mother's command cannot be defied. As the teachings say, children should respect their parents, understand reason, and stay away from harmful matters. Ning Yaoyang glared at him indignantly. This young master doesn't even know you. Who asked you to poke your nose into other people's business? The poor scholar shook his head slightly. Stubborn and unrepentant. You should read more and understand reason. Otherwise, sooner or later, you will fall into a miserable situation and regret it too late. Sheng Mimi could not help sizing up this scholar. From the look of him, he should have come from afar to the capital for the examinations. He even helped others teach children. This poor scholar seemed like quite a good person. She smiled slightly at the scholar. Young sir, please do not take offense. It is my failure to teach the child well that has made you laugh. Hearing this, the poor scholar did not meddle further. He bowed to Sheng Mimi and left. Sheng Mimi instructed her personal maid to follow this man and see where he lived. This person had the upright air of a scholar. If Ning Yaoyang was expelled from the family school, perhaps she could invite him back to teach him. After returning to the Marquis's household, Ning Yaoyang, who had been pressed down by guards to kneel, began cursing again. You vicious stepmother. What right do you have to control me? You're not my real mother. You're merely concubine-born. You can't even compare to one finger of this young master. Let go of this young master. See if this young master won't hit you. Sheng Mimi felt that this naughty child Ning Yaoyang would not behave unless he was beaten. She instructed the housekeeper to bring out the family punishment. The servants were all stunned. In the past, when young master made mistakes, he only had to act spoiled toward the old madam and the others, and it would be fine. The old madam and the others were usually reluctant to use the family punishment. Ning Yaoyang also had not expected that this woman, who had only just married in, would dare bring out the family punishment. He roared angrily. I am the eldest young master of the Marquis's household. How dare you? Sheng Mimi sneered. The old Marquis and the old Marchioness entrusted you siblings to me. Especially you, Ning Yaoyang. They said that as long as you made a mistake, I could beat you as I pleased. I cannot disappoint them. The old housekeeper quickly brought over the family punishment, as well as a long ruler. Sheng Mimi looked around. Which of you will help me carry out the family punishment? Everyone lowered their heads in unison and said nothing. Who would dare? Eldest young master was precious and noble. The new madam was truly too fierce. Although the old madam had allowed her to discipline him, she actually dared to beat him. Sheng Mimi sighed helplessly. She had originally wanted to see if anyone in the Marquis's household had a little courage, but not even half a person did. This also showed just how favored Ning Yaoyang usually was in the residence. She could only do it personally. Article 10 of the Ning family rules. Those who disrespect teachers and elders shall receive the ruler. Article 47. Those who gather to gamble shall receive the ruler. She struck Ning Yaoyang's backside once. Ning Yaoyang let out a miserable cry. When Ning Jiayue saw that this was real, she could no longer bear it and stepped forward. Madam, I will take half the family punishment for my brother. Sheng Mimi coughed lightly. Jiayue, darling, you indeed are also at fault. Your fault lies in not stopping your brother's foolishness. But you do not deserve family punishment. Before she could finish, Ning Yaoyang interrupted her. You vicious stepmother. I alone am responsible for my actions. I don't need my sister to take the family punishment for me. Sheng Mimi smiled. Fine, you have some backbone, Brad. At least you know to protect your sister. You do have some sense of responsibility. She would not dare hit Ning Jiayue. The little girl was weak. Ning Yaoyang was different. This mischievous boy was born to be beaten. After Ning Yaoyang took the second strike, he gritted his teeth and no longer cried out. His backside burned with pain. Finally, after enduring 20 ruler strikes, he lifted his head and glared at Sheng Mimi. Is that enough? Everyone thought the matter was over. Unexpectedly, Sheng Mimi sutendi knelpesite Ning Yaoyang. Ancestors of the Ning family above, the child has made mistakes because your daughter-in-law Sheng Mimi, failed to teach him strictly. I'm willing to receive 10 ruler strikes myself. Everyone was stunned. The two little ones looked at Sheng Mimi with complicated gazes. Sheng Mimi handed the ruler to the senior maid, left behind by the old Marchioness. Banyang, you do it. Banyang hesitated for a moment. Then she followed Sheng Mimi's instructions and gave Sheng Mimi 10 ruler strikes as family punishment. This matter was considered finished, but the impression she left on the entire Marquis household as someone who took responsibility was extremely deep. Supported by Xiao Guozi, Sheng Mimi returned to Tranquility Hall, deliberately walking slowly and stiffly so everyone thought she was in terrible pain. In truth, this was nothing at all. She had practiced 8-section brocade for several years and already had internal energy in her body. She used that internal energy to resist and cushion the force of the ruler. Her backside was not even swollen. Reason had to be explained to naughty children, and they had to be beaten when necessary. But she still had to use a little self-sacrificing act to win the hearts of these two naughty children and avoid provoking rebelliousness. Afterward, she asked Xiao Guozi about the scholar she had followed. Xiao Guozi said she had found out everything. The scholar was named Ji Chongsheng. He had come from another province to take the examinations in the capital and was currently living in the woodshed of Welcome Gessen. He made a living by copying books and writing letters for people. Seeing that he was in such difficult circumstances, Sheng Mimi felt it would be easy to invite him. In the two children's return to Snow Tower, Ning Yaoyang, who had been treated with medicine, lay on the bed and grumbled, "That vicious stepmother is simply unreasonable. It hurts to death." Ning Jiayue said coldly, "Enough, brother. Stop shouting." Madam did not use a heavy hand and left no injury. Once red flower oil is applied, you'll be lively again by tomorrow morning. Ning Yaoyang replied, "Why shouldn't I shout? It's lucky your brother has a strong body. Otherwise, I would have been beaten to death today." Ning Yaoyue siket. Banyang did not go easy when she hit Madam. Ning Yaoyang immediately became smug. That's what she deserves. Who told her to dare lecture me, the legitimate eldest grandson of the Marquis household? She asked for it. Next time the family punishment is brought out, she should be beaten too. Let's see who can endure longer. Ning Jiayue said disapprovingly, "Brother, grandfather, and grandmother ran off to Yangzhou overnight and abandoned us. Shouldn't we reflect a little? Maybe we really did do wrong before. Stepmother has only just married in, yet she was willing to be beaten herself in order to discipline us. If nothing else, her intentions are good." Ning Yaoyang snorted. "I just can't swallow this anger." Ning Jiayue's feelings were complicated. She knew their stepmother was using tactics, but those tactics happened to make them feel guilty. Just then, a maid brought bad news. The nannies from Madam's courtyard moved away all the valuable items in eldest young master's room. They said they were afraid you would hide private money and gamble in the future. Everything confiscated will be added to the public funds. Ning Yaoyang's heart, which had just softened, exploded again. Damn it, she just beat this young master and still won't stop. She even wants to confiscate this young master's assets. In order to teach the naughty child well, one self-sacrificing act was not enough for Sheng Mimi. She ordered people to take away all the valuable things in Ning Yaoyang's room so that he would not run wild whenever he had money. Ning Yaoyang, whose opinion of Sheng Mimi had just changed because she took punishment with him, erupted again. You're not allowed to move them. Once this young master's backside recovers tomorrow, I'll definitely settle accounts with you. But the servants in the residence had already been won over by Sheng Mimi and no longer feared this little tyrant young master. Ning Yaoyang anxiously sought his sister's help. Ning Jiuyue comforted him. It's fine. The things on my second floor are still there. If you need silver, tell me. Steal your second floor things and pawn them. Ning Jiuyue was stunned. I'm a dignified man. How could I possibly steal my sister's things? Xiaoya, have you also taken stepmother's side? Ning Jiuyue hurriedly stated her stance. No, I haven't. I will always stand on your side, brother. Even if grandfather and grandmother come, I'll still stand with you. Only then was Ning Yaoyang satisfied. With his sister, everything was enough. What vicious stepmother. Ning Yaoyang, was not afraid at all. On Sheng Mimi's side, she listened to the maid report on the money and items collected back and could not help clicking her tongue. This naughty child was truly favored. So extravagant. He actually used a gold chamber pot. His New Year's money alone equaled a lifetime's wages for an old servant in the Marquis's household. After hearing the report, she told the maid to store everything properly. Once Ning Yaoyang improved in the future, the items would be returned to him. It was already midnight. Sheng Mimi began the second part of her plan to conquer the children. She brought her maid outside to catch crickets in the grass. After searching for a long time, she finally found a large cricket in the grass. Just as she was about to catch it with a net, the voices of servants speaking nearby startled it away. Why hasn't he come yet? Hurry, and urged the residence physician. Sheng Mimi sensed the servant's nervous, panicked mood and quickly went forward to ask what had happened. The servants told her that eldest young miss had suddenly suffered an attack of cold energy. Sheng Mimi had learned about Ning Jiayue's physical condition. She knew Jiayue had coldness in her body and would suffer 1 or 2 attacks every winter, but she did not know the specific situation. At this moment, Ning Jiayue was shivering all over, frozen, and her condition was more serious than before. Ning Yaoyang stayed by Ning Jiayue's bedside with a frightened expression, afraid his sister would not make it through. When he saw Sheng Mimi, he prayed bitterly. Even this woman is here. Why hasn't the physician arrived yet? At a time like this, Sheng Mimi did not argue with the little brat. In a few steps, she reached the bed and stretched out her hand to check Ning Jiayue's body. She sensed an extremely strong, cold energy. Just as she was about to act, Ning Yaoyang pushed her away as if guarding against a thief. What are you doing? Don't touch my sister. Sheng Mimi ignored him and asked the servants for silver needles. Seeing this, the people left behind by the old Marquis and his wife anxiously asked, Madam, do you know medicine? They had never heard that the Sheng family's second young lady knew medicine and were somewhat worried and afraid. Sheng Mimi replied, a little. Hearing this, Ning Yaoyang blocked the bedside. You only know a little and you dare stick needles into my sister? Are you trying to kill her? Sheng Mimi sighed and said solemnly, her cold poison is attacking fiercely. If we do not give emergency treatment, the consequences will be severe. Ning Yaoyang was anxious, but he still could not trust this vicious stepmother. Why should I believe you? What if you deliberately want my sister to die? Sheng Mimi promised, if Jiayue dies because of me, I will pay with my life. Or, do you want to do nothing now and just watch something happen to her in front of you? Ning Yaoyang looked at his suffering sister and decided to gamble. He stepped aside and threatened Sheng Mimi. Remember what you said. If anything happens to Jiayue, I will never let you off. Sheng Mimi quickly pricked Ning Jiayue's fingers with the needles to let blood. Perhaps because she was too cold, the blood was already semi-coagulated and would not flow out. She used her 8-section brocade internal skill to open the circulation throughout Ning Jiayue's body. Then Ning Jiayue suddenly coughed up a large pool of blood. Seeing this, Ning Yaoyang immediately felt that he had gambled wrong. How could he have believed the vicious stepmother's words? He angrily shoved Sheng Mimi away. If you have any dissatisfaction, direct it at me. Whether you want me to apologize or kneel, I can do it. What exactly did you do to my sister? Ning Jiayue's cold poison had suddenly flared up, putting her life in danger. Sheng Mimi had used internal energy to force out the cold blood. Ning Yaoyang, unaware of the truth, saw his sister coughing blood and concluded that Sheng Mimi, the vicious stepmother, was harming her. Just then, Ning Jiyue woke up and weakly called, "Brother." The furious Ning Yaoyang instantly calmed down. "Sister, how are you? What do you feel unwell?" Sheng Mimi's personal maid muttered unhappily. He really doesn't know how to appreciate kindness. "Madam, are you all right?" Sheng Mimi shook her head. At this time, the residence physician also happened to arrive. This famous old doctor had been specially hired for Ning Jiayue. After a round of treatment, a layer of sweat covered his forehead. Eldest young Mrs. Cold illness is becoming more severe as she grows older. Fortunately, the cold blood was coughed out. Otherwise, eldest young Mrs. internal organs might all have been damaged by freezing. Eldest young master, may I ask which physician administered needles to eldest young miss for emergency treatment? In Ning Yaoyang's gaze toward Sheng Mimi, there was now a hint of gratitude. He raised his hand and pointed at Sheng Mimi. It was her. The residence physician immediately bowed to Sheng Mimi. "Since Madam knows medicine, from whom did you learn?" Before transmigrating, Sheng Mimi had been an attending physician in the emergency department of a top-tier hospital. Unfortunately, there were no professional medical instruments here. This illness was also not her field of expertise. So she humbly replied, "I have no school or master. I just like studying medical books." Hearing this, the residence physician thought it had only been a coincidence and said no more. Sheng Mimi escorted the physician out and asked whether Ning Jiyue's cold illness could be completely cured. The physician said eldest young miss had carried this illness from her mother's womb and would suffer attacks every winter. Over the years, he had searched through all medical classics but had found no clue. He feared eldest young miss might not live to reach marriageable age. Sheng Mimi secretly clenched her fists. Although this cold poison was stubborn, with her modern medical experience, finding the root cause should not be impossible. Whatever difficult and complicated disease this was, she was determined to research it thoroughly. Ning Yaoyang stayed by the bed all night. At dawn, seeing his sister wake up, he hurriedly asked, "Sister, how do you feel now? Are you still cold anywhere?" When Sheng Mimi brought breakfast in, she saw the warm scene of the siblings chatting. She could not help sighing that the bond between these siblings was truly precious. Logically, once brother and sister reached the age of 7, they should live in separate courtyards. Yet these two still lived together. It was probably because Ning Yaoyang could not feel at ease leaving Ning Jiayue. Forget it. For now, she would not interfere. That little brat could do as he pleased. She stepped forward with a smile. "Jiayue, darling, I brought you some red date porridge. Try it." This time, when Ning Yaoyang saw her, for the first time ever, he did not immediately curse at her. Ning Jiayue knew Sheng Mimi had saved her with needles last night and felt she should be a little more polite to her. But there was still distance in her tone. "Thank you for your kindness, madam. In the future, madam can just call me Jiayue." Sheng Mimi understood Ning Jiayue's meaning. She did not want her to call her darling. She smiled. "I am your mother, so you are my darling. I'm not wrong to call you that." After saying this, she quickly clarified to Ning Yaoyang, "You brat, don't even think I'll call you darling. Only your sister is the little darling and little angel in my heart." Hearing this, Ning Yaoyang said, "That would be best. This young master thanks heaven and earth for that." Sheng Mimi snorted and handed the red date porridge to Ning Jiyue, telling her to let her know any time if she needed anything. Only then did she look at Lin Yaoyang and tell him to come outside with her. Once they were outside, Ning Yaoyang spoke first. "Vicious stepmother, I'm not going to school today. I still have to look after my sister. And don't think I've forgotten. Last night you said you'd kneel and apologize to me. Enough. I don't have time to argue with you." "Ning Yaoyang, do you still have any crickets left?" Ning Yaoyang immediately denied it. "No, I don't have any crickets left." How could Sheng Mimi fail to see the boy's guilty conscience? She smiled and tempted him. "Considering I saved your sister, lend me one to use. I have a surprise for you." Ning Yaoyang refused. "No way. You definitely want to crush my great Vajra general to death." Sheng Mimi pretended to wipe away tears. "So in your heart, I'm someone capable of doing something so cruel?" Ning Yaoyang snorted. "If you can't do it, who can? It's not impossible for you to have my great general, but you have to agree to one condition. Sheng Mimi said teasingly. You can tell me. But if what you want is to get back all the things from your room. Ning Yaoyang retorted in pain. I didn't even mention that. I'll give you great Vidra. Next time my sister has a cold attack, you have to save her again. Sheng Mimi immediately agreed. Though this boy was a bit of a troublemaker, just based on his affection for his sister, there was still hope for him. After Ning Yaoyang gave her the cricket, he could not suppress his curiosity. He really wanted to know what the vicious stepmother wanted with his great Vidra. Surely she had not suddenly developed a bodhisattva's heart and decided to set great Vidra free, but the woman had gone into her room for ages without any movement. What exactly was she doing? After a while, the tightly shut door opened. Sheng Mimi appeared dressed in men's clothing, shocking Ning Yaoyang so much that his eyes widened. What was this? What did she intend to do dressed like a man? He was far too curious, so he furtively followed her. Sheng Mimi soon discovered a little tail behind her. She stopped and looked back. Come out. I've already seen you. Sheng Mimi, dressed as a man and carrying the cricket out, had completely aroused the little tyrant's curiosity. He had snuck after her, but before he had gone very far, he was discovered. Ning Yaoyang showed himself and stubbornly defended himself. I wasn't following you. I just wanted to see where you were taking my great general. Sheng Mimi shook the cricket in her hand. Naturally, I'm taking it to the market. A ridiculous thought suddenly popped into Ning Yaoyang's head. You're not taking my great general to fight crickets, are you? Sheng Mimi rolled her eyes at him. Why make such a fuss? It cheated my son out of his money. Shouldn't I go win it back? Ning Yaoyang instantly grew excited and did not even care that she had called him her son. Then why are you dressed like that? Sheng Mimi snorted. A man's identity is more convenient. If I used my own identity, what if it brought me trouble? And so Sheng Mimi brought Ning Yaoyang to the market. The market was still packed with people, just like yesterday. When they reached the cricket fighting area, they even heard those men grumbling that business was poor today. The ones who came were all poor boys. If only a few more foolish, rich young masters like the one yesterday would come. He still had several hundred taels on him that they had not yet emptied out. Ning Yaoyang's face flushed bright red when he heard that. Sheng Mimi seized the chance to lecture him. Hear that? After you lose money, they still call you an easy mark. Just watch me. The two walked in. Boss, is there still a seat? The group running the cricket fights recognized Ning Yaoyang, and their eyes immediately lit up. Yes, yes. Young master, please come in. Ning Yaoyang said he was not playing today. He had brought his cousin-uncle to play. When the group heard that, they enthusiastically went to receive Sheng Mimi, thinking that if even a child was so rich, then his elder cousin-uncle must be even richer. Sheng Mimi took out the big cricket. How do we play? I don't understand much. Tell me the rules. Those men looked at the cricket in Sheng Mimi's hand and did not see anything outstanding about it. It was just a little bigger. It seemed they could make another fortune today. After Sheng Mimi heard the rules with the conviction that one could not catch a wolf without risking the child, she put down 500 taels from the banknotes hidden at the bottom of her dowry chest. Will you match it? Ning Yaoyang was startled. Even when he played big, the most he dared bet was only 200 taels. Usually, a small bet was only 30 to 50 taels. This woman put down 500 taels at once. She couldn't be losing the Marquis household's money, could she? Those cricket-fighting swindlers beamed with delight. As expected of the easy mark young master's cousin-uncle, an even bigger fool with money. Soon, the two crickets in the arena clashed. Sheng Mimi's cricket grew fiercer the longer it fought, and in just a few moves, it bit the gambling den's cricket to death. Ning Yaoyang jumped up happily. We won. Those swindlers still had not come back to their senses. Sheng Mimi reached out and collected the banknotes from both sides. Great General is indeed formidable. Gentlemen, thank you for letting me win. Since the matter is done, I'll be leaving. But those swindlers stopped her. Brother, what's the fun in leaving after just one round? Play a few more rounds. Seeing how skilled you are, why not put all down this time and win big? Sheng Mimi pretended to hesitate. If I put all down, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. Whatever I bet, will you bet the same? The swindlers thought the previous round must have only been luck. This round, they had to win back both principal and profit. So they nodded repeatedly and agreed to Sheng Mimi's suggestion. No matter how much she bet, they would match it. Sheng Mimi naturally understood that they wanted her to lose everything. Unfortunately, she was one move ahead. She directly bet all the 1,000 taels she had just won. The swindlers chuckled and brought out their carefully selected, ever-victorious general, a cricket that had never lost a single match. They refused to believe her luck could remain this good. Let her feel pleased for a little while longer. Soon they would make her kneel and admit defeat. But reality was that their carefully selected, ever-victorious general lost. Ning Yaoyang could not help cheering. He took the initiative to grab Sheng Mimi's hand. Great, we won again. Sheng Mimi impolitely collected the 2,000 taels and banknotes. It seems I can't lose even if I want to. Still playing? This time I'll put it all down too. The men running the cricket fights accepted their defeat. Brother, impressive skills. We'll seek your guidance another day. Sheng Mimi answered, fine then. We'll go back to eat. Looking at the backs of the adult and child as they left, the swindlers were furious. They had lost a full 1,500 taels. This was not over. On the way back, Sheng Mimi was just about to explain to Ning Yaoyang why Great General was so powerful when she discovered those swindlers had followed them. She grabbed Ning Yaoyang and started running. Those men could not hold back anymore and finally jumped out. What? You think you can run after winning money? Leave the banknotes behind, and we'll let you scram. Otherwise, today we'll break both your dog legs. Sheng Mimi, dressed as a man, had taken the little tyrant Ning Yaoyang to fight crickets. Not only had she won back the money Ning Yaoyang lost to the swindlers, she had also won an extra 1,500 from them. On the way back, they were blocked by the swindlers. While fleeing, Sheng Mimi did not forget to use the opportunity to educate Ning Yaoyang. See that? They're a gang of swindlers. Their crickets are all fed stimulants before fighting, so they win 9 times out of 10. If they lose, they follow you and force you to leave behind the money you won. Only you would fall for this kind of scam every day. Ning Yaoyang retorted, how do you know? And if that's the case, how could you still win 2 rounds in a row? Sheng Mimi grinned, because I drug my cricket too. My drug is more advanced than theirs. Ning Yaoyang had not expected the vicious stepmother to borrow his cricket because she truly wanted to help him teach those people a lesson. He felt she did not seem quite so bad after all, and his rejection of Sheng Mimi gradually faded. The two were as nimble as loaches and soon broke through the swindlers' encirclement, running out onto the main street. They happened to run into scouts from the pacification office on patrol. Though these scouts were annoying, they were still people of the authorities. They could use them to shake off those swindlers. Ning Yaoyang, who lacked exercise, could no longer run, and those swindlers were catching up. Sheng Mimi decisively pulled Ning Yaoyang into the restaurant entered by the pacification office men. Sure enough, when those swindlers saw the pacification office men, they did not dare chase them inside. They were temporarily safe. Just then, a scholar carrying books walked past her. Sheng Mimi blinked. Wasn't that Ji Changsheng? She had been thinking of luring him to the Marquis household to be Ning Yaoyang's tutor. She immediately wanted to catch up, but unfortunately bumped into a waiter in the building. Brother, why are you in such a hurry? That hurt. Sheng Mimi hurriedly apologized and said she had just seen a scholar friend and wanted to go find him, so she had not looked where she was going. When the waiter heard that, he said, you know that poor scholar? He's living in the woodshed in the back courtyard now and has owed lodging fees for a long time. Recently, it seems a young lady from a noble family wanted to sponsor him, but there's something wrong with this scholar's head. A blessing ordinary people could never even dream of, yet he actually refused. Sheng Mimi thought, could this poor scholar become someone great in the future? After letting her imagination run wild, she became even more determined to hire this tutor for Ning Yaoyang. Sheng Mimi asked the waiter where the woodshed in the back courtyard was, then brought Ning Yaoyang there. Ning Yaoyang's expression instantly changed. Why are we looking for a poor scholar? I know. Are you having an affair with the poor scholar? Vicious stepmother, I know why you brought me. You brought me to catch you committing adultery, didn't you? Sheng Mimi knocked Ning Yaoyang on the head. Adultery, my foot. My title as the #1 overthinker is about to be stolen by you, you little brat. Soon, they found Ji Changsheng in the woodshed. The harsh surroundings did not affect his indomitable, aloof, and independent air in the slightest. Sir, forgive the intrusion. I am this brat's cousin-uncle. Entrusted by his mother. I came because she said she happened to meet you on the street yesterday and was very grateful that you taught her son. I wonder whether you would be willing to come to the residence and teach this brat to read and write. You would only need to teach for half a day each day, so it would not delay your own studies for the imperial examination. What do you think? Ji Changsheng did not answer immediately. He looked Ning Yaoyang up and down. Ning Yaoyang immediately protested. I don't want a tutor. So after all that, she was not catching an affair. She was hiring him a tutor. How infuriating. Seeing this, Ji Changsheng said, I am honored by your kindness. Though I am a candidate scholar, I have never accepted a student before. I fear I may not teach your noble young master well. Please invite someone more capable. Sheng Mimi restrained Ning Yaoyang's freedom and was not disappointed. Even Liu Bei had to visit the thatched cottage 3 times to invite Zhuge Liang. It's all right. I'm only passing on my sister-in-law's meaning. She is the mistress of the Marquis of Chongren's household, and this brat is the eldest legitimate grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household. Ning Yaoyang, if you change your mind in the future, you may go directly to the Marquis of Chongren's household to find him. Nothing in the world is difficult for one who sets his mind to it. Once Ning Yaoyang regained his freedom, he arrogantly said to Ji Changsheng, remember what you said today. You can't teach me well. Don't listen to his nonsense. I don't need any tutor. You had better not come to our residence to find me. Otherwise, watch out. I'll have someone break your dog legs. Sheng Mimi was helpless. She covered Ning Yaoyang's cursing mouth again and took her leave from Ji Changsheng. The corner of Ji Changsheng's mouth twitched. He was indeed unruly. Compared with that noble young lady who had come to sponsor him for no reason, this matter of going to be a tutor was something he could seriously consider. After they came out, Ning Yaoyang was still cursing. What right do you have to hire me a tutor on your own? And why aren't we leaving through the front door? Sheng Mimi replied, what if the swindlers are waiting for us out front? Are you stupid? After leaving through the back door, they happened to see a carriage. Ning Yaoyang suggested, let's ride in that carriage and sneak out of this street. That way the swindlers won't discover us. Sheng Mimi shook her head. There's someone in this carriage, right? If we get in, won't they drive us out? Ning Yaoyang incite. Just give them silver. You won so much just now. If you casually give them 80 or 100 taels, how could they be unwilling? After saying that, he nimbly climbed into the carriage. Sheng Mimi had no choice but to follow. Inside the carriage sat a man wearing a mask. His whole body radiated an icy aura that warned strangers away. Beneath the mask, a pair of pitch-black, cold, unfathomable eyes fixed on the two of them. What is it? Sheng Mimi inwardly sucked in a breath of cold air. Wasn't this the infamous, mysterious pacification office chief commissioner, who killed without blinking and whose true face hardly anyone but the emperor had seen? In order to evade the swindler's pursuit, Sheng Mimi and Ning Yaoyang had planned to hitch a ride in the carriage at the back door. But after lifting the curtain, they discovered that sitting inside was the notorious chief commissioner of the pacification office. What cheap ride? Their lives were more important. Sheng Mimi reacted extremely quickly and pulled Ning Yaoyang away. We did not know the chief commissioner was conducting official business again. Forgive our intrusion. We'll leave at once. Who knew the chief commissioner would speak? Stop! Ning Yaoyang, who feared neither heaven nor earth, could not hold up now and began trembling. His grandparents had once told him that the chief commissioner of the pacification office liked eating children most, and that if he ever saw him, he must stay far away. Yet today, he had delivered himself right to the door. Was he about to be eaten? The chief commissioner stepped down from the carriage, his voice cold and merciless. Trespassing by mistake? Such great audacity. Who are you? Many guards with blades suddenly appeared and surrounded them. Sheng Mimi instinctively protected Ning Yaoyang in her arms, thinking that since she was an adult, she could at least improvise, and she should first let Ning Yaoyang get away. She hurriedly declared, Chief Commissioner, we are people from the Marquis of Chongren's household. This is the eldest young master of our Marquis household, Ning Yaolang. If the Chief Commissioner does not believe me, you may arrest me for interrogation and send our eldest young master back to the residence. He is still only a child. Hearing Sheng Mimi's words, Ning Yaoyang's fear lessened a little. Was this vicious stepmother trying to protect him? He was a dignified man and did not need her protection. Besides, he was the eldest, legitimate grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household. No matter how terrifying the pacification office was, they would not dare kill him for no reason. His eldest young master temper flared, and he broke free of Sheng Mimi's protection, loudly saying, no need. If you want to arrest someone, arrest this young master. The chief commissioner looked Ning Yaoyang over and only after a long moment said, so you're the eldest legitimate grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household, who was chasing you just now. Ning Yaoyang said nervously, this young master went to play cricket fighting, and because of some money we won, those swindlers couldn't accept losing and chased us to get the silver back. Hearing this, the chief commissioner looked at the two of them. Only when their scalps tingled under his gaze did he say, leave. If you dare offend me again, You will be killed without mercy. Sheng Mimi hurriedly apologized, then dragged Ning Yaoyang away. Her whole body was covered in cold sweat. She must not have checked the almanac before going out today. She had run into a plague god. Ning Yaoyang, are you all right? Once the crisis passed, Ning Yaoyang returned to his smug manner. Of course, I'm not afraid of him. I am the eldest, legitimate grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household. In this capital, who dares touch me? Sheng Mimi laughed despite herself. Brat, you were quite brave just now. I underestimated you. After receiving praise, Ning Yaoyang looked even more smug. The two returned to the residence, chatting and laughing, completely unaware that pacification office men escorted them the whole way. Elsewhere, several black-clad men around the carriage were reporting the situation. Chief Commissioner, we have secretly sent men to escort the madam and eldest young master of the Marquis of Chongren's household back to their residence. The cricket-fighting swindlers have all been caught. Should they be interrogated or... An icy voice came from inside the carriage. Kill them directly. After returning to the Marquis household, Sheng Mimi carefully counted the silver she had won. Excluding her principal, 500 taels from her dowry, the remaining 1,500 taels were all winnings. If she had not run into the chief commissioner of the pacification office, today's outing would have been perfectly successful. Ning Yaoyang speechlessly complained, "You only want a little money. Is that necessary?" Sheng Mimi hurriedly said, "I did not take you out to gamble. I took you out to see through swindlers. There will be no next time for such things, understand? Take it. This 500 taels is the fee for borrowing your big cricket. Your big cricket did not die in vain." Ning Yaoyang could hardly believe it. The vicious stepmother was actually sharing the loot with him. But before he could be happy for even a moment, Sheng Mimi took the banknotes from his hand again. "You are young. It's not good for you to hold so much money. I'll keep the valuable things for you and record them in the accounts. Later, when you've quit your bad habit of spending money extravagantly, I'll return them to you." Ning Yaoyang's worldview had suffered a serious shock today. He no longer wanted to argue with her. This woman had too many tricks. Let her do whatever she wanted. He took his leave and went back to see his sister. He told her everything that had happened when he went out with Sheng Mimi. Ning Jieyue was so surprised that her mouth would not close. "She really protected you in front of the chief commissioner of the pacification office? Wasn't she afraid of that murderous chief commissioner?" Ning Yaoyang nodded firmly. "Yes, sister. Do you think it's possible she knows that chief commissioner and deliberately put on an act for me?" Ning Yaoyue tekisibeli site impossible. That chief commissioner of the pacification office is a great favorite at the emperor's side. Even our grandparents of the Marquis of Chongren's household may not necessarily get face from him. She is a woman from the Sheng Hanlin residence. How could she possibly have connections with him? Ning Yaoyang continued, letting his imagination run wild. Then could the two of them have some shameful relationship? Ning Jieyue was slightly startled. That's impossible too. If they had a relationship, why would she marry into our Marquis household in someone else's place? Wouldn't marrying the chief commissioner be better, right? Is the chief commissioner a man or a woman? Can you tell how old he is? When Ning Yaoyang thought of that person, he could not help trembling. I only know he's a man. He's tall, but I couldn't tell his age. He wore a ghost mask. It was truly terrifying. I didn't dare look much. Ning Jieyue thought for a moment. Perhaps she guessed the chief commissioner would give our Marquis of Chongren's household face. So she put on a show of protecting you to move us. Ning Yaoyang sutendi understood. Sister is still the clever one. It must be like that. She promised to give me 500 taels as the money for buying crickets. But before the banknotes even warmed in my hand, she confiscated them. Bah! Ning Jieyue asked again. Then what kind of person is that poor scholar? How are his learning, speech, and bearing? Ning Yaoyang answered without hesitation. A busybody who meddles in other people's business. Ning Jieyue fell silent. She should not have asked her brother. Her brother did not like studying. The moment words like learning were mentioned, his rebellious bones would flare up. This stepmother was not simple. She could manage the household and read account books, go out and deal with swindlers, and even dare put on an act before the chief commissioner without panicking in danger. Grandfather and grandmother were not here now. She had to be fully alert to deal with her. Brother, tomorrow is the day she returns to her maiden home. Let's both go with her and probe her background. The next day, Sheng Mimi was startled awake by a nightmare. She had dreamed again of the death of the original owner's birth mother. The original owner died from excessive grief, and she had transmigrated into her body because of it. Unfortunately, she still could not figure out why concubine Zhao had jumped into the well. After calming herself, she let Zyagwozi dress her up. On the third day after marriage, according to custom, it was the day a married daughter returned to her maiden home. Zyagwozi intended to advise her to wait for the young Marquis to return before going, lest she be laughed at for going alone. Sheng Mimi said there was no need. I'll go today. Everyone in the capital knows my family's young Marquis of Chongrun is not in the capital. What am I afraid of? Besides, I have a few things to handle when I go back today. When she stepped onto the carriage, she discovered Ning Yaoyang and Ning Jiaoyue sitting inside. She was puzzled. Why are you in my carriage? On the day of her return to her maiden home, Sheng Mimi had already prepared herself to go back to the Sheng residence and fight. But when she got into the carriage, she discovered the two little dumplings had quietly appeared there. Ning Yaoyang lifted his chin. We're only accompanying you back in father's place. Don't be moved. Sheng Mimi was too lazy to bother with this brat, who deserved a beating whenever he opened his mouth. She looked at Ning Jiaoyue in some surprise. Jia, my darling, are you feeling better? Hearing that she was much better, Sheng Mimi swallowed the words, advising them to return. Fine. Staying home all day isn't fun anyway. Coming with me to the Sheng family for a meal is all right. Although she knew these two children might not have good intentions, with someone accompanying her on the trip, she would not be lonely, and it was impossible for the two children to escape her palm. Both sides were quite satisfied. Halfway there, Sheng Mimi suddenly had the carriage stop. She wanted to go to a medicine shop to buy something. Seeing this, Ning Yaoyang asked Sheng Mimi suspiciously, "Why are you buying medicine?" Sheng Mimi was speechless. What medicine I buy is none of your business, Brad. Then she went straight to the Hall of Rejuvenation, named several precious medicinal ingredients, and asked the shopkeeper to wrap them up for her. She also instructed the maid Zyagwozi to divide them into two portions, one to be taken to the Sheng residence and one to be taken back to the Marquis household. In the carriage, Ning Yaoyang saw this scene, and conspiracy theories filled his mind. Sister, did she buy some expensive poison to kill us? People say vicious stepmothers who dislike their stepsons and stepdaughters all do this. Ning Jiaoyue replied, probably not. If she were buying poison, she would at least avoid people. She did it openly with the coachman and servants watching. Besides, she can give me acupuncture, so she should know some medicine. It makes sense for someone who knows medicine to buy some medicinal ingredients. Ning Yaoyang thought that made sense. Even a most vicious stepmother would not be so brazen. But we still can't let our guard down. Soon, the carriage arrived and stopped at the back gate of the Sheng residence. Ning Yaoyang was displeased. Vicious stepmother, what do you mean? You want to take us through the back door? We are the dignified eldest legitimate grandson and eldest legitimate granddaughter of the Marquis of Chongrun's household. How can we sneak into a residence through the back door? Sheng Mimi said she had something to do with the back door and told the two of them to follow the coachman and servants to wait for her at the front gate. Looking at the figures of Sheng Mimi and her servant disappearing, Ning Yaoyang rubbed his fists. What could be so secretive that she has to go through the back door? If you want me to follow, I'll follow anyway. Sister, let's go take a look. Maybe she's going to do something bad. Ning Jiaoyue was also somewhat curious. This stepmother always acted unconventionally. They truly should follow and take a look. Sheng Mimi made her way to a dilapidated courtyard. She took an old key from her sleeve and unlocked it. Then she and Zyagwozi entered the shabby courtyard. Anji, its sister. After a while, a foolish-looking, dazed-eyed, messy-haired youth walked out of the room. This was the original owner's younger blood brother, Sheng Anji. As a child, he had been clever and bright, and he had been very close to the original owner. Unfortunately, concubine Zhao's death struck him too hard, frightening him stupid. Now he was muddle-headed all day and recognized no one. The original owner's father, Sheng Hanlin, was afraid people would know he had an idiot son and laugh at him, so he locked him away and did not invite a physician for him. After Sheng Mimi transmigrated into the original owner's body, she had medical skill, but no money to buy good medicinal ingredients. Her monthly allowance of 1 tael of silver could only barely keep her brother alive. Although he was not her real younger brother, since she had taken over this body, she naturally had to shoulder this responsibility and take good care of him. She gently touched her foolish younger brother's head. Anji, be good. Sister will take your pulse. Zaya Guozi sighed at the side. The fourth young master is truly pitiful. After you married out, I don't know if anyone properly sent him meals. Sheng Mimi replied, it's all right. His days will get better in the future. She had confidence. If the Sheng residence was willing, she could take Sheng Anji to the Marquis household to raise him. If they were unwilling, she could only borrow the name of the Marquis household's mistress and pressure the Sheng residence. At least she could ensure her brother had good food and drink and that no one bullied him. She had long sensed the two peeping gazes through the crack in the door. The corners of her mouth lifted, and she simply pretended not to see. Ning Yaoyang exclaimed in amazement, Sister, she really seems to know how to treat illness. She's quite practiced with the needles. The expensive medicinal ingredients she bought must be for treating the fool. Then he found Zaya Guozi, who was decocting medicine, and asked, Who is this fool? Why is my vicious stepmother giving him acupuncture and treating him? Zaya Guozi answered quietly, That is our residence's fourth young master, our madam's younger brother from the same mother. The fourth young master became like this after being greatly shocked by concubine Zhao's death. No one in the residence cares about him. He doesn't have any good days at all. Fortunately, our madam, his real elder sister, has treated him. Only then has he lived until today. All right, I still have to brew medicine for the fourth young master. I'll go first. The two little dumplings stood in place, their emotions fluctuating for quite a while. Their father did not dote on them, and their mother was not around. It turned out the vicious stepmother had it even worse than them. Sister, the vicious stepmother doesn't seem that bad. They had come to find fault with the vicious stepmother, but unexpectedly, because they shared similar suffering, they instead began sympathizing with her. A quarter of an hour later, Sheng Mimi patiently coaxed her foolish younger brother to drink the medicine. She was so busy that sweat kept breaking out. Suddenly, the sweat on her forehead was wiped away by an elegant handkerchief. She turned and looked at the two little dumplings. Has the sun risen from the west? You're even helping me wipe sweat. You're not scolding me anymore. Ning Yaoyang stubbornly said, I was only afraid sweat would get in your eyes while you fed the medicine and choke this fool to death. Sheng Mimi laughed. Thank you. Since the two little dumplings' opinion of her had changed, the later plan to win them over would go even more smoothly. Just then, her foolish younger brother suddenly held his head and screamed, Go save Auntie. Someone is hurting Auntie. Someone pushed Auntie into the well. Before Sheng Mimi had time to feel happy that her foolish brother had regained clarity, she was shocked by his words. After one bowl of medicine, her foolish brother suddenly became clear-headed and shouted to go save Auntie. Someone was going to harm Auntie. Someone had pushed Annie into the well. Sheng Mimi comforted her trembling younger brother. The first thing he said after waking was actually about something from 4 years ago. Sheng Anji clutched his head and screamed in pain, then became foolish again. No matter how Sheng Mimi questioned him, he would not speak anymore. He could only make single sounds. Sheng Mimi sighed inwardly. Expensive medicinal ingredients were indeed good. With just the first dose, her brother had briefly recovered his wits. But the words Sheng Anji said made Sheng Mimi uneasy. If concubine Zhao had been murdered, then could Sheng Anji's madness also have been caused by someone? Concubine Zhao had been dead for 4 years, and Sheng Anji had been mad for 4 years. If Sheng Anji truly knew some inside information, then once he woke up, someone would definitely attack him. It was better not to treat him for now. Madness was her brother's protective umbrella. So she immediately told Zaya Guozi not to brew the remaining medicine, falsely claiming the herbs did not suit the illness. Ning Yaoyang spoke in confusion. Wasn't he drinking it fine just now? Such expensive medicinal ingredients. What a pity to waste them. And you still call me a spendthrift? I think you're the spendthrift. Sheng Mimi pushed the two little dumplings out of the room. What does a child like you know? Go, hurry outside. The waters of the Sheng family were deep and unclear. For now, it was better not to involve the two children. After locking the courtyard, she told the two little dumplings to return to the Marquis household. She did not need them to accompany her on her return visit. Ning Yaoyang refused and provoked her. Vicious stepmother, are you afraid this young master will go make trouble in your Sheng family and make you lose face? Sheng Mimi went along with his words. Yes, escort them safely back to the residence. Ning Yaoyang still wanted to speak, but Ning Jiaoyue pulled him back. Since she doesn't welcome us, let's go back. Only then did Sheng Mimi enter the Sheng residence's main gate. Sheng Mimi's cheap father had specially instructed that her return visit should be grand. Early in the morning, Madame Sheng had already led people to drink tea and wait in the front hall. Sheng Luo could not help speaking. Mother, the missing young marquis hasn't come back. She won't return for the visit. Do we all have to keep waiting here for her? Madame Sheng calmly replied, wait a little longer. If no one comes back, everyone can disperse. As soon as she finished speaking, Sheng Mimi, dressed in luxurious clothes, slowly walked in. Madame Sheng, this stepmother, had schemes of her own and pretended to be a loving mother as she rose to welcome her. Sheng Luo spoke in some surprise. Second sister, the young marquis isn't here. You actually came back alone. Sheng Mimi smiled generously. Today is the day a married daughter returns to her maiden home. The young marquis isn't at home. Can I come back alone? Or is it that elder legitimate sister doesn't welcome me back? Sheng Luo was choked speechless and somewhat angry. Inwardly, she sneered. What was she so proud of? She only looked glorious in outsiders' eyes. So what if she had married into the marquis household? She was still no different from a living widow. Seeing this, Madame Sheng also opened her mouth to jab a few words on her daughter's behalf. Mimi, you've wronged your legitimate elder sister. She was only worried that you are thin-skinned and would be laughed at for returning alone. After all, everyone says that when a bride returns alone, the omen is not good. Alone and solitary. The household may not be harmonious in the future. Sheng Mimi sighed inwardly. Let them say a few painless words for now. There were still matters she had not investigated clearly. For the time being, she could not fall out too badly with them. Suddenly, an arrogant voice came from the doorway. Who says she returned alone? This young master and my sister both accompanied stepmother back. How is that solitary? You're the ones whose family is not harmonious. Everyone saw a pair of dragon and phoenix twins dressed in fine brocade, walking in hand. The Sheng family were all stunned. Sheng Mimi froze. Why had these two little fellows come? Hadn't she told them to go back? The sun truly had risen from the west. They were actually speaking up for her. The most shocked person present was Sheng Luo. How is this possible? Didn't rumors say that the marquis household's siblings had terrible temperaments? Why would they accompany her back? Ning Jiayue's voice turned cold. Can we not come? The two families are already related by marriage. It is only right to visit relatives. Does the Sheng residence not welcome us siblings? Madame Sheng hurriedly stepped forward. We wouldn't dare. We did not expect the eldest young master and eldest young lady of the marquis household to arrive. We failed to welcome you from afar. Someone serve tea at once. Ning Yaoyang sat boldly in the highest guest seat. What good tea do you have? Let this young master taste it. I'll sit right here. I want to see who dares bully my stepmother. Ning Jiayue, meanwhile, politely performed a junior's greeting to Madame Sheng. Madame Sheng received this maternal grandmother courtesy and somewhat regretted listening to her daughter and letting Sheng Mimi marry into the household in her place. She had obtained the household authority as soon as she entered. The two children were even accompanying the new bride back on her return visit. After only 3 days together, they were already calling her stepmother and supporting her. Sheng Mimi looked at the two little dumplings, feeling quite pleased. These siblings had truly given her face. She lightly coughed. Everyone, forgive the spectacle. These two children are a bit clingy. I told them not to come, but they insisted on following. Sheng Luo was completely dazed by the scene. How could this be? Sheng Mimi was only a concubine-born daughter and was even becoming someone's stepmother. Shouldn't she be restricted everywhere and be inferior to others? Why had a marriage she had discarded instead benefited Sheng Mimi? She opened her mouth again to stir up trouble. Second sister should properly thank me. If I hadn't fallen ill on the wedding day, how could you have had the chance to marry into the marquis household? Sheng Mimi had just been about to speak when Ning Yaoyang's displeased voice cut in first. What does that mean? The person engaged to our marquis household was originally you? Good thing you weren't the one who married into our household. You're so ugly and still wanted to be my stepmother. If you entered the marquis household, you'd only be fit to carry my shoes. These words instantly reminded Sheng Luo of her previous life, when she had married into the marquis household and lived in humiliation. Comparing that to Sheng Mimi's current authority in hand, she was so angry that she lost all reason and actually moved to hit Ning Yaoyang. In her previous life, no matter how Sheng Luo'er tried to please Ning Yaoyang and his sister, it was useless. The two children made trouble for her every day and told her to get out of the Marquis household. Yet now Sheng Mimi was being protected by the two little dumplings. They had even scolded that she was unworthy. "You're so ugly and still wanted to be my stepmother? If you entered the Marquis household, you'd only be fit to carry my shoes." The painful memories of her previous life erupted. She raised her hand to hit Ning Yaoyang, but Sheng Mimi intercepted her halfway. "What do you think you're doing? Such great nerve. You actually dare attack the eldest young master of the Marquis household." Only then did Sheng Luo'er come back to her senses. Frightened afterward, she fell to the ground and immediately forced out an excuse. "I didn't. He was clearly the one who insulted me first." Sheng Mimi had truly had her eyes opened. What skill at lying with eyes wide open. "If I hadn't stopped you in time, that slap would have landed directly on my son." The Marquis of Chongren's household is a noble house of the current dynasty. Even though these two children are young, they are of precious status. How can your residents casually beat and scold them? Ning Yaoyang looked at the stepmother protecting them, and the rebelliousness in his heart loosened a little. The vicious stepmother had protected him again. Seeing that her own daughter was in the wrong, Madame Sheng hurriedly thought of a way to escape this situation. Otherwise, if this continued, that wretched girl would truly pin a crime on them. She immediately raised her hand and instructed the old maidservant. "The eldest young lady is muddled from illness. She is speaking nonsense. Hurry and send her back to her room and call a physician to take a look." Sheng Mimi would not let them brush it off so lightly. She spoke and called everyone to stop. Madame Sheng smiled apologetically. "It is a misunderstanding. Second girl, you know Luo'er was sick before. Look, hasn't her illness still not recovered?" Sheng Mimi did not give her face. "She wanted to strike my son. Everyone saw it with their own eyes. Should Madame Sheng not give me an explanation?" No matter how impatient Madame Sheng was, Sheng Mimi's status was different now, so she was worth smiling along with. "What kind of explanation do you want?" Sheng Mimi replied, "Let my servant return one slap to her. Reciprocity is the rule of the Marquis household." Sheng Luo'er was so angry that she spoke without restraint. "Sheng Mimi, are you mad? You're only a concubine-born daughter who married in someone else's place. What right do you have to order me around?" As soon as she finished speaking, Sheng Mimi slapped her hard. "Forget it. No need to trouble a servant. I'll do it myself. This slap is on behalf of my son. If you dare be disrespectful to the eldest young master of the Marquis household, I can only help you remember the lesson." Sheng Luo'er held her burning face and still pointed at Sheng Mimi indignantly in threat. "You dare hit me?" The response she received was another crisp slap. The spoiled young lady was struck senseless. "This is to discipline you on Madame Sheng's behalf. Is concubine-born daughter who married in someone else's place something you are qualified to say? This is the punishment for insulting the Marquis household's matriarch. Remember not to do it again in the future, or I will have to teach you another lesson." After saying that, her domineering authority vanished. She looked innocently at Madame Sheng. "Legitimate mother, you won't blame me, will you? I only wanted to help you discipline elder sister. Fortunately, this time she was speaking about me. If she offends someone else in the future, it may not pass so easily." Madame Sheng's heart ached for her daughter, but she could not fall out now, so she had no choice but to smile along and have someone help her daughter back to her room. Now the more she looked at Sheng Mimi, the more she regretted it. Sheng Mimi had seized household authority as soon as she entered the Marquis household, which meant she had won over her parents-in-law. Now she had also grasped the eldest legitimate grandson and eldest legitimate granddaughter of the Marquis household. Did that not mean the entire Marquis of Chongren's household was in Sheng Mimi's hands? She usually looked honest and obedient, but unexpectedly, her methods were so formidable. Back then, she truly should not have agreed to let her marry in place of Luo'er, seeing that it was about enough. Sheng Mimi said that all was well with her family now, and that she wanted to kowtow before concubine Zhao's memorial tablet, so that her mother could be at ease underground. Madame Sheng thought for a moment and agreed. Because concubine Zhao's death had been deemed suicide by the Sheng family, they said it was unlucky and she could not even enter the Sheng family ancestral hall, so she could only be kept in a tiny courtyard. It was truly tragic. After offering incense, Sheng Mimi tried to draw information from Madame Sheng. "Legitimate mother, how is Anji now? After I married out, Surely no one has neglected him, right? Madame Sheng did not know Xing Mimi had already seen him and lied readily. Don't worry. Anji is doing very well in the residence. I have people send him meals 3 times a day and am even planning to arrange a serving woman specifically for him. Xing Mimi did not expose her and followed along. Anji's illness makes him dislike having outsiders in his room. How about this? I'll take Anji to stay at the Marquis household for a few days and look after him myself, so as not to trouble the people of the Sheng residence. Madame Sheng felt guilty and refused to agree. How could that do? You have only just married into the Marquis household a few days ago, yet you want to bring along a burden. If the old Marquis and his wife learn of it, I'm afraid they won't be pleased. Besides, Anji is a young master of our Sheng residence. If he were healthy, that would be one thing, but in his current state, how could he disturb others? Hearing this, Xing Mimi did not force it. This time, she only wanted to rely on the status and position of the Marquis household to remind Madame Sheng to take better care of Anji. That way, his days in the Sheng residence would not be too difficult. At this moment, someone came to report that her cheap father had returned. The meal had been prepared, and they were invited to the front hall to dine. During the meal, her cheap father kept putting food into Ning Yaoyang's bowl. He was a perfect spokesperson for snobbery. Xing Mimi had grasped the correct way to use these 2 little quality hostages. If not for the deep waters of the Sheng residence, she would want to bring the 2 of them next time too. Her cheap father then opened his mouth to lecture Xing Mimi. One must have conscience. Don't think that just because you married into the Marquis household, your wings have hardened. In the future, in the Marquis household, you must treat the 2 children as your own. Don't put on airs. Otherwise, I will discipline you according to family law. He deliberately said this in front of the 2 little dumplings. He thought that no matter what, they had gained a stepmother, and the 2 children would always be wary inside. As long as he established his authority as an elder before the siblings, they would think he was someone good to them. It would be much smoother to seek benefits later. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, Ning Yaoyang slapped the table. What do you mean? This young master and my sister are eating this meal with you only for stepmother's sake, and you still want to discipline my stepmother? The Sheng residence's cheap father reprimanded Xing Mimi in front of the 2 little fellows, originally wanting to use this to curry favor with them. Unexpectedly, he had kicked an iron plate. Though surprised that the eldest young master of the Marquis household would defend Xing Mimi like this, as a shrewd old man, he quickly changed his attitude. That is not what I meant. I am usually very good to Mimi. I was only afraid she might bully you. The clever Ning Jiayue directly cut off Master Sheng's thoughts. If we had not accompanied stepmother back today, we would not have known the Sheng residence was so lively. Since stepmother is already married into our Marquis household, she is a person of our Marquis household. No matter what she does, the Marquis household will naturally judge it. There is no reason for her to still be constrained by the Sheng family. Hearing this, Master Sheng and his wife once again marveled at Xing Mimi's ability. These 2 famously little demons actually defended her so much. They hurriedly followed the topic. Yes, we were only overly concerned. After the meal was over, the Sheng family's cheeks were sore from fake smiles. Only Xing Mimi was sincerely happy and in a fine mood. These siblings had truly come at the right time. She had long found her cheap father somewhat displeasing. His own son had become foolish, yet not only did he refuse to treat him, he even despised him for embarrassing him. Now that he was in such an awkward and difficult position, he deserved it. After circling around with the Sheng family for a while more, she brought the 2 little hostages back to the Marquis household. After they left the residence, the false smile on Madame Sheng's face vanished completely. A malicious light flashed in her eyes. Master, how did Mimi establish herself in the Marquis household so quickly? Those 2 children of the Marquis household, the eldest young master and young lady, protect her so much. In the future, will she rely on the Marquis household status and stop listening to us? Master Sheng snorted coldly. The Marquis of Chongren's household is already at the end of its rope. Now it's only a dead camel larger than a horse. Besides, that fool is in our Sheng residence. She has no choice but to obediently listen. In the carriage back to the Marquis household, Xing Mimi sincerely thanked the 2 little dumplings. Ning Jiayue said, Madam, no need to be polite. Since you have entered the Marquis household, we will not let others bully you. Ning Yaoyang said proudly. We helped you today, but that doesn't mean we're truly on the same side as you. It's just that sister and I discussed it. We can stop driving you out of the Marquis household, but there's a condition. We don't interfere with each other. You can't manage us, and we won't manage you. Sheng Mimi righteously refused. That won't do. I promised your grandfather and grandmother that I would help discipline you. I can't go back on my word. Ning Yaoyang flared up again. Wicked stepmother, don't go too far. We've already taken a step back, and you still dare be this arrogant. Ning Juyue's gaze also turned cold. Sheng Mimi said with a smile, although I am responsible for disciplining you, I won't send people to watch you all day. You have the right to decide what you do. I only have 2 requirements. First, study properly. Second, don't violate the Ning family rules. Things like squandering the family fortune, gambling, visiting brothels to hear songs, brawling, and so on are already written in the Ning family rules. As for anything else, we'll see later. Ning Yaoyang was unconvinced. I hate studying most of all. Sheng Mimi guided him unhurriedly. Then what do you like most? Ning Yaoyang's whole aura became pleased. There are plenty of things. Horse riding, archery, hunting, cricket fighting, polo, eating, drinking, and having fun. I'm good at all of it. Sheng Mimi changed tack. Those are indeed fun. But if those are all you know, people will only say you, Ning Yaoyang, are an ignorant, good-for-nothing wastrel. If you are learned and talented, and you can still do all those things, people will praise you as a refined young lord who is capable of anything. Ning Yaoyang, who was extremely resistant to studying, was utterly fearless. I want to be an ignorant, good-for-nothing wastrel. What can anyone do about it? Sheng Mimi fell silent. This boy was actually proud of being a wastrel. It seemed she could not force him and could only outsmart him. So she said, if you are ignorant and incompetent, how will you inherit the Marquis household's great estate in the future? When a Marquis of Chongren's household is handed to you, you won't be able to keep it. Your grandfather and grandmother won't be able to die with peace of mind. Your younger sister is already in poor health. Who will protect her? This time, Ning Yaoyang's momentum weakened a great deal. I can protect my sister even if I don't study. Besides, my grandfather and grandmother will live to 100, and I still have my father. Ning Jiayue, who was standing at the side, could not help speaking up. I don't need brother to protect me. I can protect brother. I want brother to live freely and happily, without suffering or tiring himself. Brother can do whatever he wants. Sheng Mimi looked seriously at Ning Yaoyang. Did you hear that? Your sister is in poor health and has a cold illness, yet she still wants to protect you. And you, perfectly healthy, only think about eating, drinking, and having fun all day. Don't you feel ashamed? Ning Yaoyang's greatest weakness was his sister. Hearing this, he subconsciously said, but can studying protect my sister? Studying can't cure her illness. This was exactly what Sheng Mimi had been waiting for. She patted her chest and promised, I can cure your sister. You just focus on studying properly. I'll focus on treating your sister properly. The 2 siblings looked at Sheng Mimi in shock. You can cure her? Because of this visit to the Sheng residence, the 2 little children had changed their view of their stepmother, Sheng Mimi, and were willing to coexist peacefully. Sheng Mimi seized the chance to encourage Ning Yaoyang. As long as you can pass the child student exam or the scholar exam, Juyue's cold illness will be my responsibility. However, Ning Juyue was not so optimistic about Sheng Mimi's confidence. If my illness could be cured, with the Marquis household's ability, it would have been cured long ago. You can't cure me. Sheng Mimi clenched her fists to cheer the 2 little ones on. I will work hard to research it. Your brother will work hard to improve himself and study. You will work hard to overcome the cold illness. As long as people are alive, they should have goals. Isn't it good for the 3 of us to work hard together? Besides, your brother loves you so much. Could he really fail to do even such a small thing as studying? If studying hard could cure Sheng Anji's foolish illness, I could even pass the exam as a female top scholar. With this provocation, Ning Yaoyang finally stopped hesitating. It's only studying. I'm not stupid. Even the wicked stepmother dares boast that she could become a female top scholar. Could I, Ning Yaoyang, be worse than her? Impossible. Sheng Mimi's plan had succeeded. The corner of her mouth curved slightly. I only need you to take first place among the child students for now. I'm not asking you to be both civil and martial top scholar like your father. Ning Yaoyang snorted in unconvinced disdain. A mere child student exam. How hard can that be? Come, pinky promise. It's settled. If you go back on your word, I definitely won't let you off. The 3 of them hooked pinkies. Ning Jiayue's eyes were complicated. Stepmother was using brother as a target for provocation. But brother was the one who always fell asleep in school whenever the old teacher lectured. He could never listen. Could brother really do it? Still, it was good that stepmother was doing this. At least this way, brother would not really become the ignorant, good-for-nothing wastrel everyone talked about. Soon, they got off the carriage and returned to the Marquis household. What they did not know was that someone from the pacification office had followed them the whole way. Only when the Marquis household's carriage entered the main gate did the man stop in an alley near the residence. "Chief Commissioner, should we follow them inside?" The person inside the carriage replied, "No need." The new mistress of the Marquis of Chongren's household didn't say much about the Sheng residence. It seems she probably doesn't know that Sheng Jiangnan is secretly manipulating the circulation of counterfeit silver in the capital. Her way of teaching children is quite interesting too. The coachman was somewhat bewildered. His commissioner's focus seemed to have shifted. "Chief Commissioner, if you're interested, I can have a spy infiltrate the Marquis household to watch this woman and see how she teaches the children." Then he heard an emotionless voice reply, "That works. Isn't their household recruiting a tutor? Perhaps they may also recruit a martial instructor. Send someone to investigate the cause of concubine Zhao's death in the Sheng residence 4 years ago. This Marquis household mistress also came from the Sheng family. She will be of great use later. Monitor her for now." The coachman was puzzled. Does it need to be so complicated? Couldn't we directly arrange for someone to enter the Marquis household as a servant? He had 10,000 questions in his heart, but he did not dare ask. In the end, he agreed. Meanwhile, in the Marquis household, Sheng Mimi was eating, drinking, chatting, and laughing with the 2 little children when a servant came to report, "Madam, a poor scholar requests an audience. He says he wants to come to our household to be a tutor." Hearing this, Sheng Mimi perked up. She had thought she would have to invite him several times. She had not expected Ji Changsheng to come so quickly. She hurriedly asked where he was. After learning he was in the front hall, she smiled at the 2 little children. "You two come with me. Let's meet your new tutor." When Sheng Mimi and the others arrived in the front hall, they saw Ji Changsheng standing in the hall with his hands clasped behind his back. His spine was perfectly straight as he admired the ancient calligraphy and paintings hanging on the wall. "Mr. Ji, we meet again." Ji Changsheng came back to himself and cupped his hands in greeting. "Greetings, Madam Sheng. Since your noble household invited me, I have thought it over for a long time and am willing to come teach here. However, I have several requests. Your household need not pay me. You only need to provide a quiet place to live and simple meals. I am currently only a provincial graduate, and I intend to prepare for next year's spring metropolitan exam. My studies must be my main focus, so I cannot teach the young master of your household all day. But madam, please rest assured, I can still teach for 1 or 2 double hours each day, and when I teach, I guarantee I will do my utmost." Sheng Mimi had a very high opinion of Ji Changsheng's character and learning. For him to come teach the child in the Marquis household was their household's honor. She was just about to speak, but Ning Yaoyang cut in first. "No, I don't want this person as my tutor. Before, weren't you unwilling to come to the Marquis household to teach me? Why did you suddenly agree now? You're a poor scholar. You come in and say you don't need payment, but you want to live in the Marquis household. Who knows whether you have some other purpose? What if you're taking advantage of my father not being here and trying to cling to my stepmother?" Sheng Mimi was speechless. Ji Changsheng immediately wanted to retreat. When one wishes to accuse someone, one can always find a pretext. "Since that is the case, I shall not disturb you further. Madam Sheng, please find someone else." Sheng Mimi grew anxious when she heard this. She grabbed Ning Yaoyang and gave him a scolding. "You brat, this tutor was not easy for me to find for you. Hurry and apologize to him." Ning Jie, who had been quietly observing from his side, suddenly asked, "This provincial graduate, may I ask where you are from, and what your ranking was in the provincial exam?" Ji Changsheng cupped his hands and said modestly, "I am from Yangzhou. I was the top graduate of the Jiangzhou provincial exam the year before last." Ning Jieyue was shocked. "How is that possible? As the distinguished top provincial graduate, how could you have fallen to such circumstances?" Ji Changsheng replied frankly, "This humble student does not care for luxury. When I became top provincial graduate, there was indeed silver awarded. But I lost both parents when I was young and grew up eating from 100 families' tables. I repaid all the silver the authorities awarded me to the villagers who raised me. The court also provides a monthly stipend, and I give that to the villagers as well." Sheng Mimi suddenly understood. So that was how it was. She had only found out that Ji Changsheng was a top provincial graduate and provincial degree holder. She had not expected his background to be so full of twists and hardships. In such a difficult environment, most people would be fortunate just to survive, yet he had managed to place first in the provincial exam. Hearing this, Ning Jiayue spoke up to persuade Ning Yaoyang. "Brother, I think this tutor should be a person of upright character." Sheng Mimi also gently nudged Ning Yaoyang. "Yaoyang, did you hear that? Hurry and step forward to greet Tutor Ji." Ji Changsheng, this poor scholar, had been approved by both stepmother and his younger sister. After Ning Yaoyang glared at him for a while, he reluctantly stepped forward and bowed. "Student greets tutor." Seeing Ning Yaoyang respectfully salute him, Ji Changsheng felt that this child was not naturally incorrigible. There was still hope for him. He reached out and helped him up. "Since I have become your tutor, I will not only teach you to read and write, but also teach you the principles of being a person." Ning Yaoyang felt that this tutor was still so young, yet he was even more long-winded and troublesome than the old teacher at clan school. Was it still too late to go back on his word? The education minister, Sheng Mimi, wanted had arrived. Delighted, she arranged Ji Changsheng's residence and had people prepare a lavish apprenticeship banquet. When a table of dishes full of color, fragrance, and flavor was served, faint surprise appeared on the siblings' faces. Why had they never seen the cook make these dishes before? Even restaurants outside did not seem to commonly serve them. Sheng Mimi chuckled. "Of course, because I made this table of food." Thinking of their stepmother's status as a concubine-born daughter and the situation at the Sheng residence, the siblings' goodwill towards Sheng Mimi increased again. "Don't look down on me. I also prepared lucky snow cakes for you. Today, they're specially added to this apprenticeship banquet for an auspicious meaning. May your fortune prosper and your studies prosper." Ning Yaoyang was the first to pick one up and silently prayed in his heart that he would take first place in the child's student exam and that his sister's illness would recover soon. Ji Changsheng also silently took one and placed it in his robe. He hoped everything would go smoothly in next year's spring metropolitan exam, and that his name would appear on the golden list. After the meal, Ji Changsheng suggested looking over Ning Yaoyang's previous assignments to understand his student's progress. Only after long while did he ask how many years Ning Yaoyang had attended clan school. Ning Yaoyang guiltily said nothing. Ning Jiayue answered for him. "Brother and I went to clan school when we were 4. It has been 3 years now." Hearing this, Ji Changsheng was stunned for quite some time. After 3 years of clan school, to this day, Ning Yaoyang could not even write his own name correctly, and his handwriting looked like ghostly scribbles. He abruptly closed the book. These eye-scorching characters were better left unseen. He said to Sheng Mimi, "I will treat today as his first day of study. For the next 2 days, I will teach him all day. I will help him catch up with the clan school's progress." Sheng Mimi repeatedly said yes and took Ning Jiayue away. Since the elder brother had begun studying, she would also fulfill her promise and treat Ning Jiayue. She soaked the little girl in medicinal soup. Then she took silver needles and drew out the cold energy in her body. The medicinal bath and acupuncture could not yet cure the little one completely, but they could keep the cold illness in the child's body from worsening and control the frequency of attacks. She had never treated such a troublesome illness before. She still had to consult medical books and search for more suitable prescriptions, striving to cure the little one completely. Only then could she administer medicine without her hands trembling. Inwardly, however, she was already sobbing. This time, she had bought the medicinal ingredients at her own expense. The 1,000 taels she had just won had not even warmed in her hands, and she had also used up the dowry she had hidden at the bottom of her chest. What loss! Next time, she would use the household accounts. This tutor explained things in simple, easy-to-understand language, and Ning Yaoyang became increasingly less resistant. He studied hard. Even after dark, he was still practicing writing. Later, Ning Yaoyang's wet nurse brought in a bowl of chicken noodle soup. "Young master, are you hungry? Stop studying. Eat and rest early." Ning Yaoyang's mind was working hard from reading, so he began devouring the food. The wet nurse began sowing discord from the side. "Our Marquis household can still prosper for generations. Eldest young master, you are the eldest legitimate grandson of the Marquis household. Why must you work so hard and compete with poor scholars in studying? They study for wealth and a future. You were born with everything. Madam really is something. Because you are not her own child, she does not feel distressed for you. Ning Yaoyang replied, I'm not studying for wealth or a future. Tutor said studying is to understand matters and principles. Stepmother said studying is so I won't become a wastrel in the future. I'm studying for my sister. Hearing this, the wet nurse pretended to wipe her tears and continued sowing discord. Madame soaked Miss Yue in a medicinal bath tonight and gave her acupuncture. Miss was in so much pain. I watch you both grow up. My heart aches terribly. Madame is not a famous doctor. She did not even report to the household physician before using the eldest young miss as a test subject. If something happens, the old Marquis and old Madame are not here. What can we do then? Ning Yaoyang said loudly. That's not true. Stepmother knows medicine. We saw her treat someone. She won't treat recklessly. Seeing this, the wet nurse continued to bewitch him. Madame says she can treat illness, so she can. This old servant sent someone to ask around. No one in the Sheng residence knew Madame could treat illness. Besides, Madame's own younger brother is a fool. To this day, Madame has not cured him. Can she cure our eldest young miss? And after you returned with her to her maiden home, you came back completely changed. Did she use some evil method to brainwash you? You have never liked studying, yet now you read until so late. Eldest young miss allows her to treat her and does not let us servants come close. Ning Yang suddenly smashed the bowl of noodles onto the floor. I'm not eating. I've lost my appetite. What evil method did she use to brainwash us? She isn't a witch, and I'm not a fool who would be tricked by her. The wet nurse had not expected the eldest young master to get so angry and hurriedly knelt on the ground in fright. Eldest young master is right. This old servant was mistaken. In her heart, she secretly hated it. I am your wet nurse. That person has only married in for a few days. Just because she has the title of stepmother, she stole away your affection. On what grounds? Ning Yaoyang irritably told her to leave. Don't say such things again. But Ning Yaoyang's heart had still been swayed. Nanny did have some logic. When stepmother had just married in, he and Jiyu had both agreed that they would never acknowledge this stepmother. Although she was somewhat different from others, it had only been a few days. Could she be pretending? Just as the stubborn young master had changed his view of his stepmother and begun studying diligently to save his sister, he encountered the wet nurse's sowing of discord, which led to insomnia. The next day, when the sun was high, Ning Yaoyang still had not gotten up. Sheng Mimi charged over and yanked Ning Yaoyang up from the bed by the ear. Brat, Tutor Ji has been waiting for you all morning, and you're still lazing in bed. Other students get up before dawn to study. Where did that energy from last night go? Ning Yaoyang weakly protested. You wicked stepmother, don't pull my ear. Let go. I'll go wash up and attend class right now. Sheng Mimi saw Ning Yaoyang's two panda eyes and was nearly amused to death. What did you do last night? Don't tell me you secretly did something bad behind my back. Although he had studied until 10 at night yesterday, that was still enough to sleep for 4 double hours. He should not look like a ghost. When something was abnormal, there had to be a demon behind it. So she went out and asked the servants, after your eldest young master returned, what did he do? The maids tactfully replied, after eldest young master went upstairs to see eldest young miss, he came downstairs to rest. But last night, Nanny Kong seemed to make a bowl of noodles for eldest young master and brought it in. Then eldest young master lost his temper and smashed the noodles. Sheng Mimi pressed further, asking why Ning Yaoyang had lost his temper. The maid said they knew nothing. Nanny Kong was serving alone in the room. Eldest young master did not let us enter. We do not know what happened inside. Sheng Mimi could tell at a glance that they were not telling the truth. She pressed the aura of a matriarch down on the two maids. You couldn't hear a single thing? If you don't speak, don't blame me for sending you to the woodshed to reflect. The two maids were so frightened that they did not dare hide anything. Nanny Kong incited young master, saying he did not need to study hard like others, and she also spoke ill of you in front of young master. Soon, Nanny Kong was summoned to the front hall to meet Sheng Mimi. Seeing the person arrive, Sheng Mimi smiled faintly. Nanny Kong, you have been in our Marquis household for several years. Serving our Yaoyang has truly been hard on you. I hear Nanny Kong has quite a few children at home. With so many people in the family, they cannot do without you. How about this? Our Marquis household will give you an extra year's wages. Go home and live out your days. Nanny Kong was shocked. Madam, what do you mean by that? Sheng Mimi withdrew her smile and said expressionlessly, exactly what it sounds like. If you do not want to serve beside eldest young master anymore, then return home. Nanny Kong panicked and declared, I'm not leaving. I am eldest young master's wet nurse. I must serve eldest young master for the rest of my life. Sheng Mimi sternly questioned her. You want to serve beside Yao Yang? Then why did you say words to sow discord? He was finally starting to have ambition and improve himself. Do you want to raise the eldest legitimate grandson of a marquis household into a crippled wastrel? Or did someone behind the scenes instruct you to do this? Hearing this, Nanny Kong knew that someone had overheard what she said to Ning Yaoyang last night. She opened her mouth to argue. This servant only felt sorry that eldest young master had studied so late last night. So I said a few words of sympathy. Madam, do not put such a crime on my head. When the old marquis and old madam managed the household, they never treated servants so harshly. The marquis household was full of laughter everywhere. Ever since you came, are we servants not even allowed to say a few words of concern for our master? Sheng Mimi laughed in anger. This wet nurse really had a hard mouth. Even now, she refused to admit it. Words of sympathy, is it? Fine. Bring the people who heard it over, and let us see. Let us see what sympathetic words you said. Hearing this, Nanny Kong panicked. This was bad. She was trying to make the matter bigger. Shouldn't she, for the sake of her own reputation as the mistress managing the household, settle things quietly? Why was she still clinging to such a small matter? Soon, under Sheng Mimi's warnings and threats, the two maids honestly confessed what Nanny Kong had said, but they would not be sold off. We personally heard Nanny Kong say that eldest young master was born with everything, and she even advised eldest young master not to study. She also said Madam was treating eldest young miss recklessly and used evil methods to brainwash young master and young Mississippi. If we have spoken even one false word, Madam may punish us as you see fit. Nanny Kong completely panicked. In anger, she lunged at the two maids and started hitting them. The two maids also stopped enduring. We're not talking nonsense. Haven't you done enough rotten things in eldest young master's courtyard? Relying on being eldest young master's wet nurse. You always bully servants like us. Sheng Mimi pondered that Ning Yaoyang developing into his current state probably had a lot to do with these people. When she had first entered the household, she had not been able to find the source. Now that the source had walked right into her hands, she had to kill the chicken to warn the monkeys. She immediately ordered people to invite Nanny Kong out of the marquis household. Nanny Kong protested fearlessly. You have no right to drive me away. I'm eldest young master's wet nurse. I nursed eldest young master. The old marquis and old madam said before that the marquis of Chongren's household would support me in my old age. No one could drive me away. Sheng Mimi sneered. Now you want to use the old marquis and old madam to pressure me? The authority to manage the household is in my hands. Even if old madam knew, she would not say I was wrong. Moreover, you deliberately led the eldest legitimate grandson of the marquis household astray. If the old marquis and old madam knew, they would be even less likely to spare you. Nanny Kong still refused to accept it. Eldest young master was nursed by me since childhood. He is very filial to me. He will not ignore me. This time, Sheng Mimi's face completely chilled. Beside her, Nanny Ba, a maid left behind by the old marquis and old madam, stepped forward and slapped Nanny Kong across the face. You are only a wet nurse, a mere servant. Can you bear the eldest legitimate grandson of the marquis household's filial piety? If he is to be filial, it is to the old marquis and old madam. Filial to you? Are you worthy? Nanny Ba's words completely woke Nanny Kong. After all, Nanny Ba had been left by the old madam to assist Sheng Mimi in managing the household. She represented the old madam. Nanny Kong immediately admitted defeat and begged for mercy. Madam, this servant will never dare again. Please, madam, give this servant a way to live. This servant knows her mistake. Nanny Kong's behavior only made Sheng Mimi despise her even more. She ordered, no need to give her the extra year of wages. Throw her out. Soon, the neighboring Earl of Deshun's household also learned that Nanny Kong, whom they had planted, had actually been driven out of the household by Sheng Mimi. Even that little demon King Ning Yaoyang had been taught by her to love studying. Sheng Mimi truly had good methods. Hearing this, the Earl's wife sneered. She is only a woman, and she has only been in the household for a few days, yet she drove out the wet nurse. Isn't she being too impatient? Although our Earl household and the Marquis household share the same clan origin, we split the family years ago. I cannot interfere in their household affairs. Ning Yaoyang does not know about this yet, right? Go give Nanny Kong a hint and help her. Of the Marquis household's descendants, only Ning Yaoyang is male. If Ning Yaoyang cannot manage the marquis household well in the future, our main branch can adopt a male heir over to help him. Now Ning Yaoyang has actually begun studying diligently. That will not do. That afternoon, Nanny Kong started throwing a tantrum and shouting at the gate of the marquis household. "None of you can drive me away." In her heart, she was certain that Sheng Mimi would not even let her see eldest young master because she was afraid he would protect her. As long as she saw eldest young master, everything would be fine. Her loud shouting finally drew Ning Yaoyang out from inside. "Who is it? You're making so much noise I can't even study." Nanny Kong immediately pretended to be pitiful and knelt before him. "Eldest young master, hurry and save this servant. Madam wants to drive me out of the marquis household. I am your wet nurse." Before Ning Yaoyang could speak, Sheng Mimi also came out and stood beside him. "I'm indeed driving her out. Do you agree?" Sheng Mimi had driven the disaster known as the wet nurse out of the marquis household. After the wet nurse and the Earl household behind her worked hard, she finally saw Ning Yaoyang. The wet nurse cried with all her might, begging to return, while not forgetting to sow discord again. "I am your wet nurse, eldest young master. Madam wants to drive this servant away without your consent. This servant does not accept it." She was very confident. Young master had grown up under her watch. Sheng Mimi was only a stepmother who had just married in a few days ago. Young master would definitely help her. Sheng Mimi calmly watched this scene. "Ning Yaoyang, think clearly. Were the words she said yesterday really for your sake? If you truly want to keep her, I will not stop you." Ning Yaoyang felt the respect his stepmother was giving him. Because of Ji Chongqing's teaching, he looked at the wet nurse. "Nanny Kong, considering that you nursed me before, even though you often relied on your status as my wet nurse to secretly eat my food and take my things out to sell for money, I always turned a blind eye and did not deal with it. But this time, the wicked stepmother is right. The words you said last night were not concerned for me at all. You only wanted me to become useless. And it was obvious that you wanted to sow discord between me and this wicked stepmother." After speaking, he looked at Sheng Mimi. "You manage the marquis household. I'll leave it to you." When the wet nurse heard this, she panicked. She clung tightly to Ning Yaoyang. "I am your wet nurse. How can you be so heartless? You should properly be filial to me." The wet nurse's words completely severed Ning Yaoyang's last trace of attachment to her. A servant was actually asking him, the master, to show her filial piety. "Haven't I treated you well enough all these years in the marquis household? The things you did at my side were already enough for me to report you to the authorities and drive you out." After saying this, he no longer paid attention to the wet nurse's wailing and let the household guards drag her away. In a good mood, Sheng Mimi praised him. "Our Yaoyang has become sensible now. You have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. Wonderful." At the same time, Sheng Luo'er, wearing a veil, was searching all over the restaurant for Ji Chongqing. Unable to find him, she kept complaining inwardly. This scholar really did not know what was good for him. "I treated him so well and even wanted to support him, yet he hid from me. No, nothing I set my eyes on has ever slipped away. As long as I help pay for his room and arrange his meals, once he finds out later, he will definitely be moved." She stopped a waiter and took out 50 taels of silver, asking him to give it to Ji Chongqing. "Do not tell him it is from me. Just say Yuri knows he is the top provincial graduate, and will let him stay and eat for free." The waiter did not take it. "Miss, you may not know this, but Mr. Ji already moved out of our welcoming guests restaurant the day before yesterday," Sheng Luo'er said angrily. "Where did he move to? Did you drive him out? How could you do that?" The waiter rolled his eyes. "He left on his own. How would we know where he went?" "Miss, what is your relationship with him? You're rushing around so eagerly looking for a scholar. Aren't you afraid people will laugh?" Sheng Luo'er left welcoming guests restaurant in embarrassment and had her maid take silver to inquire about Ji Chongqing's whereabouts. In her heart, she snorted coldly. A bunch of people who did not recognize value. Ji Chongqing had extraordinary learning. It was inevitable that he would rank highly in the imperial exams in the future. Although he had no power or status now, his potential was outstanding. If she wanted to recruit him into the family as a live-in son-in-law, father and mother probably would not object. This way, she would not have to marry out and watch her husband's family's faces. The next day, Sheng Mimi was in the kitchen making medicinal meals to nourish the two children when she heard Xiaguozi report that the eldest young miss of the Sheng residence requested an audience. One did not visit without reason. Why had Sheng Luo'er come running here? After thinking briefly, Sheng Mimi ordered her to be brought in. When Sheng Luo'er entered and saw Sheng Mimi cooking in the kitchen, she said sarcastically, "Second sister, with so many servants in the Marquis household, do you need to personally enter the kitchen to make food? Is the Marquis household's eldest young master making things difficult for you and insisting you cook for him?" Sheng Mimi replied with very humble bragging, "There is no helping it. The two children are simply too clingy and too picky. They insist that the things I make are delicious. They are my family's children, so I can only spoil them myself and personally cook for them. I truly envy eldest sister. At home, you need not do anything. You only have to stretch out your hands to be dressed and open your mouth to be fed." Sheng Luo'er's smile became a little stiff. How had these two children acknowledged her as their stepmother so quickly? Could the rumors that the two children were mischievous be false? After a few insincere exchanges, she moved to the main topic. "I heard the Marquis household spent heavily to invite back a tutor. Did second sister invite him to teach young Master Ning?" Sheng Mimi nodded. "Yes, he and Yaoyang get along well. After only 2 days of teaching, he sparked Yaoyang's interest in studying." Sheng Luo'er continued to probe. "Where is this tutor from? To be so capable, what is his surname and name? What region is he from?" Sheng Mimi's lips curved. "He is just a young tutor, surname Ji. His name is Ji Changsheng." Sheng Luo'er smiled brightly. "So, is tutor Ji? That truly is fate. I also know tutor Ji. He is the top provincial graduate of Jiangxia. No wonder he can teach the eldest legitimate grandson of the Marquis household well." Sheng Mimi understood. So she had come for Ji Changsheng. This was interesting. Eldest sister stays deep in the inner residence every day. How did you come to know an outsider like Tutor Ji? Sheng Luo'er blushed and made up an explanation. "Previously, when I went to the temple to offer incense, the carriage was startled and Tutor Ji came to the rescue. Later, I inquired about my benefactor's whereabouts and learned he was a provincial graduate borrowing lodging at a restaurant while preparing for the exams. So I went to thank him once. Since Tutor Ji is in the Marquis household, could you let me see him?" Seeing Sheng Luo'er's impatient look and the manner of a young girl with budding feelings, Sheng Mimi realized that the noble young lady the waiter had mentioned, the one who wanted to support Ji Changsheng, was Sheng Luo'er. She remembered that Ji Changsheng had not accepted Sheng Luo'er's help. He would rather sleep in the restaurant's woodshed. He probably had no such intention. Now, there was a show to watch. So she very generously took Sheng Luo'er to the study terrace in the rear courtyard to find Ji Changsheng. "Tutor Ji, an old acquaintance wants to see you. Can you come out for a moment?" Ji Changsheng opened the door. Sheng Luo'er impatiently pushed Sheng Mimi aside. Then she raised a smile and looked at Ji Changsheng. "Mr. Ji, it's me. I didn't expect you to come to my second sister's place to teach." When Ji Changsheng saw the person before him, he looked as if he had seen the plague. He immediately closed the door. "Miss, I do not know you. Please return." Sheng Mimi burst out laughing. "Eldest sister, your savior does not seem to want to see you." Sheng Luo'er had no time to bother with Sheng Mimi. Her entire heart was fixed on Ji Changsheng as she kept knocking on the door. "Mr. Ji, we met before. Have you forgotten? I sincerely want to support you. Right now, you should focus your time on preparing for the exam. You should not be here teaching an ignorant, stubborn child to study. Everyone outside says the eldest legitimate grandson of the Marquis household hates reading and writing most and cannot even write his own name. He will never study properly. Mr. Ji, I'm also doing this for your good. I do not want you to be delayed and waste your precious time." The next second, the door suddenly opened. Caught off guard by her own momentum, Sheng Luo'er fell to the ground. Ning Yaoyang stood with his hands on his hips and snapped coldly. "I wondered where this she-demon came from. So it was you. If you have the guts, say what you just said again." Sheng Luo'er, used to being arrogant and domineering, wanted to recruit Ji Changsheng into the Sheng residence as a live-in son-in-law. While trying to gain favor in the Marquis household, she actually spoke without restraint and belittled Ning Yaoyang. Only when the door opened did she belatedly fear it. What she had said just now had only been meant to persuade Ji Changsheng to wake up. She had not expected Ning Yaoyang to be there too. She quickly forced a smile and explained, "Young Master Ning, you misunderstand. I only said it casually." Ning Yaoyang snorted coldly. "Misunderstand? I heard clearly inside. I am stubborn and ignorant." Sheng Luo'er continued, "Isn't that what everyone outside says? I was only repeating the facts." Young master Ning surely would not want me to go against my conscience and praise you as diligent and eager to learn, would you? Ning yaoyang kringnet. You're right about that. I did indeed idle around all day before. But although I have not studied much, I still know propriety, righteousness, integrity, and shame. I also know that men and women should maintain proper distance. Eldest Miss Sheng ran into my home to harass my tutor. I truly wonder where the Sheng family's upbringing has gone. You say you want to thank someone, but you show no sincerity at all. At the very least, you should bring more gold and silver treasures. You should not come empty-handed to thank my tutor for his kindness. And I find you very strange. My tutor is doing quite well in the Marquis household right now. Why do you keep urging him to leave? You are clearly someone who could solve things with money, yet you insist on rushing over, doing more troublesome things and trying to get close to my tutor. Oh, I understand. Have you taken a fancy to my tutor? All that talk about thanking him is actually just an excuse, isn't it? Sheng Luo was exposed and angrily shouted, "Don't talk nonsense." Ning Yaoyang did not care and continued tearing away the fig leaf. No wonder my tutor would rather sleep in the restaurant's woodshed than accept your help. Can't you see that he looks at you as if you were an evil ghost? Even the thick-skinned Sheng Luo was made so ashamed by his blunt words that she had nowhere to hide. Humiliated and angry, she threw down a sentence. "Tutor Ji, if you change your mind, you may come find me at any time." Then she fled the Marquis household in disgrace. Sheng Mimi, who had watched the whole drama from the side, could not help clapping. "That mouth of yours is impressive. You actually managed to anger my eldest sister away." Ning Yaoyang snorted. "Who told her to call me stubborn? What's wrong with me saying a few words to her? Besides, everything I said was true." As the center of the storm, Ji Changsheng also felt very embarrassed. He had brought the host family, a troublesome person. Seeing this, Sheng Mimi hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry, tutori. The person just now was my eldest sister. She suddenly came to the Marquis household saying she wanted to see you. I did not have time to inform you." Ji Changsheng replied seriously. "I come from a poor family, so even though I have been in the capital for several months, I have not made any close friends. If anyone comes looking for me again next time, please help me stop them outside the residence, madam. I only wish to study myself and teach Yaoyang to study." Hearing this, Sheng Mimi nodded repeatedly. "I am sorry. I understand. I disturbed you, tutor. I am very sorry." Ning Yaoyang muttered angrily. "She ran off, but she ruined my good mood for studying." Hearing this, Ji Changsheng said, "You have studied diligently these past few days. Tomorrow, I allow you to rest for one day." Hearing this, the unpleasantness Ning Yaoyang had felt just now was completely washed away by joy. "Wicked stepmother, can I go out?" Sheng Mimi smiled helplessly. "Tutor Ji has already said so. How can I disagree? But I need to know where you are going tomorrow." Ning Yaoyang said that during these days of studying, people had been sending him invitations every day. Tomorrow, someone had a gathering at Welcoming Guest Restaurant, and he wanted to go there for a meal. The next day, Ning Yaoyang went as promised to the best private room at Welcoming Guest Restaurant. Everyone in the room was his good brother, all famous sons of wealthy families in the capital. "Ning Yaoyang, I hear your stepmother is fierce. We haven't seen you for so many days. She didn't beat you until you couldn't get out of bed, did she?" Ning Yaoyang waved his hand. "Move aside. How could I be afraid of her? It's all rumors." His friends did not believe him. "Then why haven't you come out to play for so long? You haven't listened to music, gone to the hunting grounds, or shown up at the polo field or riding grounds?" Ning Yaoyang replied somewhat proudly. "I have been studying all day. I had no time to come out and play." How can playing outside be as fun as studying? The private room fell silent. His friends looked at Ning Yaoyang in disbelief. Then they burst into laughter. "Ning Yaoyang, are you joking with us? Didn't you hate studying most? Is your stepmother really that capable, forcing you to study? You are too useless." The dignified eldest, legitimate grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household. Yet you are being controlled by a concubine-born daughter. Ning Yaoyang's face darkened slightly as he argued. "What's wrong with studying? She even invited a tutor for me." His friends continued laughing. "All right, we understand. In a couple of days, several good horses will arrive at the riding grounds. If you're interested, reserve one early." I reserved a fine red horse. It's so powerful. As Ning Yaoyang listened to his friend's discussion, he suddenly felt that coming out to play with these people was meaningless. It felt like such a waste of time. He might as well go home and study. His friends invited him again to go to the riding grounds tomorrow, but Ning Yaoyang refused on the grounds that he needed to study. His friends began complaining on his behalf. Are you afraid your stepmother won't let you go out? If you're afraid of her, we brothers can help you vent your anger. One day when she goes out, we'll throw a few big firecrackers into her carriage and blow up her face. Ning Yaoyang quickly stated his position. She is my stepmother. Show some respect. His friends did not take it seriously. Come on. With her status as a concubine-born daughter, how is she worthy of being your stepmother? She beat you on the first day she entered the household. She's not a good person. If you need us brothers, just say the word. As long as you cover the cost of our private room at Welcoming Guests restaurant for a year, we will definitely help you vent this anger. Ning Yaoyang slapped the table and stood up in pain. All of you shut up. Do my family affairs need your nonsense? Ning Yaoyang, why are you going crazy? We're only concerned about you. Ning Yaoyang directly interrupted. What concern? You merely want to see me become a joke. You speak so rudely. You should also invite a tutor. You should properly study etiquette and rules. Feeling that this conversation was too meaningless, he turned and walked out. Now someone became anxious. Previously, whenever they ate and drank, Ning Yaoyang, this sucker, always paid the bill. They had finally seen him today, so they could not let him leave. They quickly went to pull Ning Yaoyang back. Weren't we just joking? We won't say it again. But if you want to leave, you can settle the bill first. Unexpectedly, Ning Yaoyang shook off his hand. Weren't you the ones who sent an invitation asking me to come? Why should I pay? Most importantly, his silver had been taken away by his stepmother. He could not really go upstairs and steal from his sister. But the friends who had always treated him as a sucker were unwilling. How could you have no money? Don't you have so much silver you can't spend it all? What's wrong with paying the bill? Didn't you always pay before? You can't be this stingy, can you? After meeting his friends at the restaurant, Ning Yaoyang finally saw clearly that these people did not treat him as a friend at all. They only wanted to spend his money and enjoy eating, drinking, and having fun. And he had treated them so well before. The wicked stepmother was right. Previously, he had really been like a sucker. So he directly fell out with them. You have eaten and drunk at my expense so many times. Shouldn't it be your turn to pay? How can I always be the one taking out money? Today, I will not pay a single coin. His friends refused. How could you have no money? Don't you have so much silver you can't spend it all? What's wrong with settling a bill? Ning Yaoyang snorted. Whether I can spend all my silver or not has nothing to do with you. In the past, I considered our affection and hosted you every time. Yet you accepted it as only natural and took advantage of me. Today, whoever invited us pays this bill. If you cannot afford it, think of your own way. Also, your families are all high officials and nobles, yet you come looking for me to pay every day. Do you still know what shame is? After mocking them, he left the group standing there and strode away. The friends in the private room were all dumbfounded. If he could not pay the bill, he should have said so earlier. If they had known, they would not have ordered so much. If they split it evenly, their monthly allowance would be gone. In the Marquis household, Sheng Mimi received an invitation from the residence of the Assistant Minister of Works. Their old matriarch was celebrating her 60th birthday. This old matriarch and the old madam of the Marquis household were old friends. The two families had always interacted frequently and had a deep friendship. So Sheng Mimi had Nanny Ba, the maid the old Marchioness had left behind, prepare a congratulatory gift. Tomorrow, they would definitely go to wish the old matriarch a happy birthday. She also had Nanny Ba ask Ning Yaoyang and his sister whether they wanted to go together. At dinner, the siblings said, "Grandmother always went to offer birthday wishes before. My sister and I do not like these occasions." The maid was just about to accept the order and report back to Sheng Mimi when Ning Jieyue stopped her. Then she whispered a reminder by Ning Yaoyang's ear. "Brother, Madam is only a concubine-born daughter. In the past, I do not know whether she had experience dealing with other noble ladies. Let us go together tomorrow. We should help her a little. If they bully only her, that is one thing, but it would not be good for the reputation of our Marquis household." Naturally, Ning Yaoyang wanted to listen to his sister. "Then we will accompany her. I want to see who dares bully our Marquis household tomorrow." The next day, Sheng Mimi brought the beautifully dressed siblings to the Zhou residence for the banquet. Many people did not know Sheng Mimi, but seeing the Ning Yaoyang siblings beside her, they could guess who she was. After exchanging a few polite words with the Zhou residence's people, Sheng Mimi asked the siblings whether they wanted to go play. She would stay here and chat with the ladies. It was too boring for children to follow along. The siblings looked at each other. They were somewhat tempted, but still shook their heads. "We won't go. We'll follow you." After all, these two proud little ones were there to support their stepmother. Sheng Mimi knew they were afraid she could not handle things. Somewhat comforted, she stroked the two little ones' heads. I really can handle it. Go play. I see many children over there. The intimacy of this head pat was something the two little ones quite enjoyed. Hearing this, they finally said, all right, my sister and I will go look around. If anything happens, you must call us. Sheng Mimi smiled as she watched the two leave. As expected of children, their mouths said they did not want to go, but in their hearts, they did. But she truly had not expected these two children to take the initiative to care about her. Suddenly, a sharp voice interrupted her thoughts. So this is the new madam of the Marquis of Chongren's household. With a change of clothes, I nearly did not recognize you. On Madam's wedding day, you grabbed the eldest legitimate grandson of your Marquis household and gave him a beating. It truly left a deep impression. Sheng Mimi's expression did not change. My son is naughty. On my wedding day, you made Madame Huang laugh. Madame Huang ignored the host family's hint and continued teasing. It did indeed make us laugh for quite a while. We all know about the marriage between your Sheng family and the Marquis household. It was supposed to be your eldest sisters. Who would have expected the bride to be changed at the last moment? The bride of the Marquis of Chongren's household changed from a legitimate daughter to a concubine-born daughter. The old Marquis and old Madam must not have felt good about it. But for Madam, it is different. After all, you directly climbed up to the Marquis household and turned your life around. Sheng Mimi sneered inwardly. You think that because I'm a concubine-born daughter, you can embarrass me in front of everyone and I would not dare do anything? You are still far from capable enough. She smiled and counterattacked. Whether my father-in-law and mother-in-law feel good about it, I do not know. But I do know that Madame Huang must be feeling rather unwell right now. I heard that you once also wanted your daughter to marry into the Marquis household, yet she was unwilling to lower herself to the status of a stepmother. Could it be that now she has seen a concubine-born daughter like me marry in, she regrets it? Unfortunately, I'm already the mistress of the Marquis household. Madame Huang, what a sharp tongue you have. You dare publicly mock the Marquis of Chongren's household for waiting anxiously for imperial peace? My husband has spent years at the border, tirelessly serving the country. How can the wife of a mere deputy military commander be allowed to mock me? Madame Huang's face stiffened. Who could bear such a grave accusation being placed on them? Everyone present immediately understood that the new mistress of the Marquis household was not someone easy to provoke. Madame Huang hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Young Madame Marquis, why say that? I was only chatting with you about household matters. I meant nothing else. Please don't misunderstand. Sheng Mimi smiled lightly. So, it was a misunderstanding. Enmity is better resolved than deepened. Madame Huang, I was too abrupt. Madame Huang took the opportunity to step down. No. It was my fault for accidentally offending you. Just then, someone announced that Madame Sheng had arrived. Madame Sheng thought to herself, Sheng Mimi, a concubine-born daughter who just settled into her marriage, must have been laughed at by these noble madams who looked down on her. She was so arrogant in the Sheng residence before. Today, outside, I must teach her a lesson. She deliberately put on a surprised expression and asked, Mimi, why are you here? Then she took Sheng Mimi's hand and said, Mimi, you have not been married into the Marquis household for long. A young wife should remain at home, serve her husband, and raise the children. Mother knows that because your husband has not returned to the capital for a long time, you are alone in an empty room and may feel somewhat lonely, but there are so many men outside. If you keep running out, it will have such a bad influence. The madams all pricked up their ears, eager to watch the drama. Then they saw Sheng Mimi smile calmly. Mother, I cannot agree with those words. Going out to attend a banquet is perfectly proper. What Madame he said was true. How is it that, from Mother's mouth, it becomes breaking the rules and being unable to endure loneliness? Or does Mother think that at the old matriarch's birthday banquet, all those present are improper people of bad character? Is that why you worry about me so much? Madame Sheng hurriedly said, that is not what I meant. Sheng Mimi continued, it is my good fortune that Mother cares so much about me. But I am now the presiding mistress of the Marquis of Chongren's household, and everyone present is also a noble lady of excellent virtue. Mother, by treating them as if they were street ruffians who would ruin my reputation the moment I came near them, is that not somewhat inappropriate? Now the trouble had been diverted elsewhere. Quite a few madams began looking at Madame Sheng with displeasure. Because of Sheng Mimi's status as a concubine-born daughter and the substitute marriage, even after becoming the noble mistress of a Marquis household, She was still provoked by the ladies of high society. She had just subdued Madame Huang, who had come looking for trouble, only for her stepmother, Madame Sheng, to secretly smear her in public. Calmly, she shifted the blame outward. After making the other noble madams resent Madame Sheng, she added another cut. Eldest sister seems to have been going out quite often recently. I even saw her yesterday. Did she do something to anger mother, causing you to worry so excessively? Seeing this, the other noble women began speaking one after another. I heard the legitimate daughter of the Sheng family had some sudden illness before, didn't she? With an illness like that, she should not have been far from death, right? Otherwise, they would not have had the second daughter marry in her place. How is the legitimate daughter now alive and lively enough to go out? Changing a marriage arrangement so casually shows a problem with character. Any respectable family probably would not dare marry her now. The more Madame Sheng listened, the uglier her expression became. Inwardly, she cursed Sheng Mimi as a damn wretched girl who dared openly ruin her Luoer's reputation. Furious, she said, "Ladies, are you not going too far? My Luoer suffered a sudden illness and is already pitiful. Now that she has finally recovered, you are damaging her reputation like this. Do none of you have daughters at home? Do you not care whether someone lives or dies?" The madams curled their lips. "We did not say anything much. Wasn't the substitute marriage arranged by your Sheng family? Are we not even allowed to mention it?" Sheng Mimi soothed them. "Please do not be angry, everyone. Mother only acted this way because she is anxious for eldest sister." Then, reading the room, she continued to guide the conversation. When eldest sister fell ill, she had mother to care for her, and even her arranged marriage could be changed. I truly envy eldest sister. Unlike me, whose birth mother passed away, leaving me and my younger brother helpless and alone. Although I'm married in as a substitute to become a stepmother, I know mother must have done it for my own good. She had no ill intentions. With that, several madams were moved by Sheng Mimi's emotions. "Madam, good people are blessed by heaven. Your fortune will be great later on. Some people speak sweetly, but in the end, they only care for their own daughters. The old Buddha and the old madam are both good people. Once you left the Sheng residence, your days could only get better. This is a heaven-sent marriage. Seeing you today, young Madame Marquis, truly has an extraordinary bearing." Madame Sheng was so angry her chest ached. This wretched girl, both openly and secretly, was accusing her of treating her badly. She could not understand why Sheng Mimi, a concubine-born mistress of a marquis household who should have been despised by everyone, actually had people speaking up for her. Once again, she regretted that back then she should have let her own daughter marry over. Then today, both mother and daughter would have been glorious. After that, she did not dare make trouble for Sheng Mimi again. On the other side, the little boys led by Ning Yaoyang were making quite a ruckus. Ning Yaoyang, praised by everyone, was even more smug. "What's so hard about this? Stand firm in a horse stance, don't let your elbows shake, and you hit the target in one throw. Whoever wants to try, I can teach you." Just then, a group of young boys came over. The chubby boy in the lead arrogantly snatched the arrow from someone else's hand and forcefully pushed through the crowd. "Move aside, all of you. Let this air play. Ning Yaoyang, I heard your stepmother beat you so badly your own father and mother wouldn't recognize you. I thought you really wouldn't dare go out anymore. Why are you playing here?" Ning Yaoyang sneered back. "Isn't this fat fortune from Grand Princess Huoming's residence? I heard you were so fat you could barely walk. I thought you couldn't get out of bed anymore. Why are you here playing too? If you want to play, go line up." The overbearing heir became furious the moment he heard that nickname. "Ning Yaoyang, you dare speak to this heir like that? This heir is an imperial relative. The emperor is my granduncle. Or you, Ning Yaoyang, and you want me to line up? I insist on cutting into play today." In the end, Ning Yaoyang intended to use his skills to make this fat heir obediently line up, showing off his perfect pot-throwing skills. "How about it, fat fortune? We agreed that as long as I beat you, you will leave obediently and return the spot to everyone else." Who would have thought that the fat heir would lose his temper? He felt that if he lost to Ning Yaoyang in front of so many people, everyone would surely laugh at him. So he suddenly ran over and kicked both pots to pieces. This heir suddenly doesn't want to play anymore. "I just came to cause trouble. I won't let any of you play. What can you do about it?" Ning Yaoyang shouted unhappily. "Fat hibiscus, If you can't afford to lose, then don't play. Can you have even a little upbringing? The fat heir arrogantly replied, what right does a useless thing without a father or mother have to say, I have no upbringing? All day long, you only let a concubine-born stepmother ride over your head, and don't dare make a sound. Ning Yaoyang also flared up and pinned the fat heir to the ground. Watch your mouth for this young master. Besides, how did my stepmother offend you? Look at your own conduct. You're the useless one. You can't afford to lose and still cause trouble. You're the most useless. Just then, Grand Princess Huoming arrived with her people. The moment she saw her precious grandson, cherished like the apple of her eye, pinned on the ground and crying out, her blood pressure soared. Seeing his backer had arrived, the fat heir also began complaining first. Without distinguishing right from wrong, Grand Princess Huoming immediately ordered people to drag Ning Yaoyang away and beat him to death. How dare he attack our family's furong? Such audacity! When Ning Jiyue saw the Grand Princess appear, she knew something terrible was about to happen and quickly ordered a servant boy to fetch her stepmother as reinforcements. Now, she used her frail body to protect her brother and explained his identity to the Grand Princess. My brother is the legitimate eldest grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household. Unexpectedly, Grand Princess Huoming snorted coldly. I wonder who it was. So it is the famous little wastrel of the capital, a little bastard without a father or mother. Since no one in your Marquis household has taught him, I will teach him on your family's behalf. Beat him. Give him 30 strokes first. The old maids came forward and separated the siblings. Ning Yaoyang completely exploded. Let go of my sister. This young master did nothing wrong. You old hag, what right do you have to beat me? The Grand Princess, in her 50s, could least tolerate being called old. The moment she heard Ning Yaoyang call her an old hag, she disregarded her status and personally stepped forward. You wild brat, it seems I must personally teach you how to speak. Ning Yaoyang had already resigned himself and closed his eyes. But what he felt was not the expected pain, but an unfamiliar yet warm embrace. The 50-year-old Grand Princess could least bear people calling her old, and she was about to hit someone without asking right from wrong. Ning Yaoyang, unconvinced, cursed her as an old hag. The Grand Princess completely disregarded her status and rushed forward to slap Ning Yaoyang. Sheng Mimi arrived and protected Ning Yaoyang in her arms. Her own arm took the Grand Princess's slap, and it immediately swelled red. She raised her eyes and looked directly at the Grand Princess. Your Highness, there is no need to trouble yourself with teaching my son. Hearing this, the Grand Princess grew even angrier. How dare you stop me? Have you eaten a leopard's gall? Sheng Mimi stood unmoving and replied to Grand Princess Huoming, our great Yu dynasty also has laws. You were born into the imperial clan, so why do you strike a 7-year-old child so cruelly? The Grand Princess sneered arrogantly. This little bastard offended his superior and hit my grandson. What is wrong with me, teaching him a lesson on behalf of your Marquis household? Sheng Mimi said sternly, Ning Yaoyang's father is defending the country at the border, and I am now his stepmother. Calling him a bastard, could it be that your Highness is cursing our Marquis to die in battle at the border? Besides, you did not even ask the reason for the conflict before striking. Is that not far too biased? Or is it that your Highness has never put great, noble families like ours in your eyes at all? Grand Princess Huoming had not expected Sheng Mimi to be so sharp-tongued. She snorted coldly. You are quite good at throwing accusations around. I heard you are a concubine-born daughter who married into the Marquis household as a substitute. Even your legitimate mother has no right to speak before me. How dare you shout in front of me? Sheng Mimi was not afraid at all. I am now the mistress of the Marquis of Chongren's household, and even more, I am the 2 children's stepmother. Your Highness wants to beat and kill my child without cause. No mother could stand by and do nothing. Ning Yaoyang saw that Sheng Mimi did not make them endure humiliation just to avoid offending the powerful. His eyes became moist. Ning Jiayue was the same. She knew that, for the sake of the Marquis household's face, her stepmother would at least protect her brother's life. But she had not expected her to protect both of them so firmly, without yielding an inch. Others all said that once they had a stepmother, they would definitely be bullied by her and live bitter lives. But their stepmother had never done that. When they made mistakes, she did not beat or scold them. Instead, she taught them so they would not go astray. She urged them to study. When they were ill, she cared about them. She personally made delicious food for them. In front of outsiders, she protected them again and again, never retreating. The siblings exchanged a glance. Wasn't such a stepmother just like a real mother? Sheng Mimi crouched down and looked at Ning Yaoyang. She asked softly, Yaoyang, what happened just now? Can you tell everyone? Ning Yaoyang looked at Sheng Mimi in a daze. Thinking of how stubborn and naughty he had been before, always going against his stepmother, would she be disappointed? Would she listen to his explanation? Would she think he had caused trouble first? Even so, he bravely told the truth without adding any embellishment. It was Fat Furong who cut in line and broke the rules. I stopped him, but he would not listen. He was the one who suggested a contest. When he saw he was about to lose, he started cheating and cursing. The children who had been present also began testifying. That's right, Fat Furong started it first. He lost the bet, cheated, and even hit Ning Yaoyang. Fat Furong also pushed Zhou Qin down. He also cursed Ning Yaoyang. Seeing everyone speak for Ning Yaoyang, Fat Furong cried loudly, Grandmother, my whole body hurts. It was all Ning Yaoyang who beat me. The person in charge from the Zhou family had also arrived by now. Your Highness, Grand Princess, it was our Zhou residents that failed in hospitality. We should not have set up only 2 spots for pot throwing, causing 2 children to come into conflict. Today is our old matriarch's birthday. I hope your Highness will give our old matriarch some face and let this matter be reduced from a major issue to a minor one, and then to nothing. Though the Grand Princess did not put Sheng Mimi, a concubine-born daughter, in her eyes, more and more people had gathered now. If the matter truly escalated, she might not gain the advantage. Moreover, if the legitimate eldest grandson of the Marquis of Chongren's household really were beaten to death, she would have no way to explain it to her imperial brother. So she said, fine, on account of your old matriarch's birthday today, I will spare him this once. But this boy must apologize and admit his fault to our Furong. And this Madam Sheng must apologize to me as well. Ning Yaoyang pursed his lips. He thought, forget it, this woman is a grand princess. If he did not apologize, it would definitely cause trouble for his stepmother. Just as he was about to compromise and apologize, Sheng Mimi pressed him back and spoke forcefully. This incident was caused first by the young heir. If anyone is to apologize, the young heir should apologize first. Also, your Highness insulted our Yaoyang just now. I hope you will apologize to our child. Our Yaoyang is only 7 this year. If he suffers such a great injustice, it will be harmful to his growth and reputation. Otherwise, even if the Marquis household must enter the palace to lodge an imperial complaint, we will clear the child's name. Everyone had already been stunned by the new mistress of the Marquis of Chongren's household. In Ning Yaoyang and Ning Jiayue's hearts, an inexplicable feeling of relief rose. Their stepmother was truly so brave and understood them so well. They liked their stepmother so much. It was the first time the Grand Princess had met someone who gave her so little face. She laughed in anger. Good, very good, Madam Sheng. You dare start ordering me around. Just you wait. I will enter the palace right now and reason with my imperial brother. Let us see whether I am the one without upbringing. After saying this, she took her grandson and left. Sheng Mimi had been focused on speaking quickly just now, but now she could not help worrying. This grand princess was so domineering and unreasonable, even using the emperor as a tool. She had to think of a countermeasure in advance, or the matter would become troublesome later. At this moment, a light force came from both her left and right hands. The 2 children looked at her with shining eyes. Madam, don't be afraid. You still have us. At that moment, between the 3 of them, it was as though an indestructible barrier had been formed. Sheng Mimi smiled. If the children were not afraid, what was she afraid of? She nodded firmly to the 2 children. The Zhou family was still trying hard to keep the Grand Princess. Your Highness, please stay and attend the banquet before leaving. It is only a matter between 2 children. There is no need to trouble His Majesty. The Grand Princess ignored them. Just as she had barely reached the gate, a group of people suddenly rushed in and blocked her path. The pacification office is arresting wanted criminals. No one is allowed to move. The arrogant and domineering Grand Princess could not out-argue Sheng Mimi and wanted to enter the palace to lodge a false complaint. But just as she was about to step out the door, the people of the pacification office stormed in with murderous intent. Everyone's breathing stopped at once. Usually, only in major cases would the chief commissioner of the pacification office personally appear. Something huge was about to happen at this banquet. The Grand Princess was so frightened by the 2 blades suddenly held in front of her that her legs nearly went weak. Insolence! I'm going to see His Majesty. You dare stop me? The 2 blades did not retreat at all. Anyone who obstructs the pacification office in investigating a case may be executed first endorsed and reported later. Imperial relatives are no exception. The host family of the banquet was secretly relieved. Delaying the Grand Princess from filing an imperial complaint was also a good thing. They hurried forward. Chief Commissioner, please speak calmly. For the investigation, our Zhou residents will fully cooperate. Someone, help Her Highness the Grand Princess to the side to rest. Only then did the Chief Commissioner of the Pacification Office withdraw his blade. We received a report that a group involved in smuggling armored fields and forced labor cases has infiltrated the guests of your Zhou residence. We are here to investigate. The Zhou family trembled slightly. Chief Commissioner, could there be some mistake? Those invited to our residence today are all close friends and people of reputation. How could they possibly be connected to smugglers and villains? The Chief Commissioner waved his hand coldly and ordered, whether there is a connection, I will determine myself. Several of you, follow me to the western courtyard. The rest search the eastern courtyard and front hall. Anyone suspicious or who resists is to be taken down on the spot. Sheng Mimi hurriedly brought the siblings to stand in a relatively safe corner. Since she had previously blocked the Chief Commissioner's carriage and had been let off, they were now the calmest among the crowd. Soon, a commotion rose from the crowd. The suspect is here. The pacification office and the suspect instantly began fighting. The female guests screamed in terror and fled in all directions, running blindly in panic. Sheng Mimi and the two children were scattered by the crowd. Sheng Mimi was extremely anxious. If the two children ran into a criminal, they would be in danger. She wanted to go forward and grab the siblings, but the crowd blocked her so completely that she could not move. Just then, that desperate criminal was forced into a dead end by the pacification office's men. Ning Jieyue, who had fallen and become isolated, became his chance to escape. He rushed forward and took Ning Jieyue hostage. All of you get back. Let me leave, or I will slaughter this little girl. Sheng Mimi nearly blacked out. Did they have to be so unlucky? Ning Yaoyang also saw it. He was about to rush forward recklessly to save his sister. Fortunately, Sheng Mimi grabbed him in time. Don't go up there. You're only a child yourself. If you go up, you will only give the bandit another hostage. Trust me, I have a way to save her. Wait here. At this moment, there was no other choice but to trust Sheng Mimi. Ning Yaoyang could only nod uneasily. The desperate criminal's blade had already left a bloody mark on Ning Jieyue's neck. The usually aloof child was now terrified. In her despair, a voice suddenly rang out. Let go of my daughter. I am the presiding mistress of the Marquis of Chongren's household. My daughter was born frail. She gasps after running 2 steps and could die at any moment. Exchange me for her as your hostage. I promise I will obey you. Ning Jieyue finally learned what it meant to see true feelings in adversity. The desperate criminal said, "You are so young. How could you have such an old child? Are you trying to trick me?" Sheng Mimi replied that she was her stepmother. A stepmother was also a mother. A sickly child will make it hard for you to escape. Let me exchange with her. I promise to obey and not resist. Ning Jieyue cried, "Stepmother, don't." The desperate criminal saw that Ning Jieyue did indeed look sickly, but he was also afraid this might be a trick to deceive him. Seeing him hesitate, Sheng Mimi knew Jieyue could not endure much longer and hurriedly said, "Brother, if my daughter is tormented a little more, she will die. Once she dies, she truly has no value. At that point, forget exchanging hostages. You will not be able to escape from here either." This time, the desperate criminal stopped wavering. "Then come here. Don't play tricks." Sheng Mimi walked over carefully. "Don't worry. Just don't hurt the child." She cooperated fully and replaced Ning Jieyue. The feeling of the icy blade against her neck was unpleasant. The moment she spoke, her neck bled. Ning Yaoyang hugged his sister, who had escaped danger, and choked out, "Stepmother." Several pacification office men protected them. Sheng Mimi comforted them herself. "I'm fine. Take care of Jieyue." The desperate criminal held Sheng Mimi hostage and retreated farther and farther away. He seemed very familiar with the layout of the Zhou residence. After turning a few times, he shook off the pacification office's pursuit. He took Sheng Mimi out through the back gate of the Zhou residence. Sheng Mimi tried to save herself by negotiating. Who knew the villain would not let her go? Cut the nonsense. If you cooperate, I will release you after we leave the city. If you do not cooperate, I will kill you now. Sheng Mimi was forced onto a carriage by the blade. Her heart sank halfway. This criminal actually intended to hold her hostage out of the capital. If he did not release her now, he might kill her later to silence her. Meanwhile, the villains in the Zhou residence had all been subdued by the pacification office. Related suspects also had to be taken away. Assistant Minister Zhou's family loudly cried that they were wronged. The Grand Princess was also among those being taken away. Her sharp voice carried far. "You pacification office dogs are audacious. How dare you arrest me? This is outrageous." The chief commissioner turned a deaf ear and wiped his blood-stained blade while listening to his subordinate's report. "Sir, there were 5 criminals in total. 1 was captured alive, 3 died, and 1 escaped while holding a hostage." Just then, Ning Yaoyang rushed over. "Chief Commissioner, we met last time in the carriage. I am Ning Yaoyang of the Marquis of Chongren's household. Please save my stepmother. My stepmother was taken away by a bad man while saving my sister." The chief commissioner looked deeply at the little boy crying for help and asked his subordinate, "Which direction?" Then he disappeared in a flash. The capital was full of pacification office spies. The villains held Sheng Mimi hostage and drove the carriage out of the city. They needed to send word to their superior, explaining that this transaction at Assistant Minister Zhou's residence had failed. The counterfeit coins were all buried inside Assistant Minister Zhou's residence. For people still had not come out. As long as even one survivor remained, there was a chance of exposure. When Sheng Mimi saw that the 2 bandits made no effort to avoid discussing this in front of her, she knew it was over. They spoke of such confidential matters in front of her, which meant they did not plan to leave her alive. Still, she did not give up fighting for a chance to live. "Good sirs, we are already so far from the Zhou residence. I promise I will not tell anyone. Please spare my life." The villain inside the carriage wickedly lifted Sheng Mimi's chin with his dagger. "Little lady, you are so pretty. How could I bear to kill you? When we leave the city gate later, cooperate with me in putting on an act. Once we pass the gate, we will let you go." Sheng Mimi smiled on the surface. "Really? You will keep your word?" But inwardly, she felt grim. Once these people were safe, she definitely would not live. Aside from the driver outside, the greatest threat to her right now was the one inside the carriage. She had to stabilize him first and find a way to make him untie the ropes on her hands. The villain was still coaxing her. "Of course, pretend to be my wife. Say we entered the city to seek medical treatment and are now returning after seeing the doctor. As long as we fool the soldiers, it will be fine." Sheng Mimi said in surprise, "Brother, with the way I am dressed, do we look like husband and wife? Anyone with eyes can tell that I'm the madam of a wealthy family. It is too fake. Why don't we pretend to be mistress and servant instead? That fits my status better." The villain drew his blade to threaten her. "Whether husband and wife or mistress and servant, you must think of a way to pass the gate inspection. If we cannot pass, I will kill you now." Sheng Mimi hurriedly agreed. "All right, I will help you. Then untie the ropes on me." "What master will be tied up?" The villain stared at Sheng Mimi. "You won't play tricks and run away, will you?" Sheng Mimi smiled sweetly. "How could I? I am just a weak woman. How could I run? Are you afraid you cannot defeat me?" The criminal thought about it and found it reasonable, so he untied all the ropes binding Sheng Mimi. By now, the carriage had reached the city gate and had to undergo routine inspection. The bandit again pressed the blade against Sheng Mimi's neck. "Don't play tricks, or I guarantee you'll be the first to die." Sheng Mimi first opened a small corner of the carriage curtain and said they had urgent business outside the city. She even removed a hairpin from her hair and gave it to the gate guard as a gratuity. When handing over the hairpin, she deliberately cut her own hand, hoping the blood-stained pin would draw the soldier's attention. But the gatekeeper took it and stuffed it into his robe, not noticing the signal at all. Sheng Mimi reminded him again, "This hairpin was left by my mother years ago. It is made of genuinely fine material. Officer, please take a good look." But the gate guard impatiently waved his hand. All right. Do you think we have never seen anything good? Hurry up and pass." Her whole round of self-rescue hints had gone down the drain again. Sooner or later, she would report these soldiers for dereliction of duty. They successfully passed through the city gate. Sheng Mimi asked the bandit, "Brother, now that we are out, can you let me go?" The bandit said viciously, "Shut up. Wait a little longer." Sheng Mimi refused to quiet down. If they kept waiting, she really would have no path to survival. She pretended to be surprised. "Brother, why do I feel like there are hoofbeats behind us? Is someone chasing us?" The villain heard this and hurriedly turned his head, lifting the curtain to check. The blade against Sheng Mimi also shifted position. Sheng Mimi seized the chance, pulled out a hairpin, and stabbed it directly into the villain's neck. The villain cried out and collapsed to the floor, cursing, which drew the attention of his accomplice driving the carriage. He lifted the curtain and saw it. "Damn it, you actually know some martial arts too." He drew his blade and slashed at Sheng Mimi. The horse suddenly lost control. Sheng Mimi rolled with emotion and tumbled down from the carriage. Fortunately, she had internal strength, which cushioned the fall. The driver gave her no chance to catch her breath and swung his long blade down. In close combat, she was at a disadvantage. Soon, there were wounds on her body and face. If this continued, he would definitely kill her. She had to think of a way. She used the familiar trick again, pointing behind the bandit and shouting, "Behind you! The soldiers are here!" The knife-wielding bandit instinctively turned to look. Sheng Mimi seized the moment and kicked the bandit's manhood, crippling it. The intense pain made the bandit lose his fighting ability. She immediately turned and ran. She knew that if she were caught again, it would definitely not be as simple as being tied up. Just then, rustling sounds came from the grass nearby. A sharp arrow flew out of the grass, shooting straight towards Sheng Mimi. Sheng Mimi barely dodged, and only then realized the enemy had other accomplices. It was over. She had not even enjoyed a few good days yet. Was she going to die here? Those two children had only just begun to show her different expressions with great difficulty. Another sharp arrow shot toward her. Her mentality collapsed again. The fear of death made her close her eyes. Suddenly, a faint ding sounded by her ear. A small stone knocked that arrow aside. Sheng Mimi opened her eyes and saw a figure riding over from the distance. It was the chief commissioner of the pacification office who had saved her poor life. When Sheng Mimi was fighting the bandits and facing danger, the scene of a hero saving the beauty had finally fallen to her. The chief commissioner of the pacification office saved her life from the bandits. "Are you all right? Get up." Perhaps because he had saved her life, Sheng Mimi felt that this fearsome chief commissioner was not actually so frightening. See, knowing that her legs had gone weak, he still offered her a hand. "Thank you, Chief Commissioner, for saving me." The chief commissioner intentionally tested her. "You're quite bold. You're only a stepmother. Was it worth taking such a great risk for a stepdaughter?" Hearing this, Sheng Mimi blurted out, "What is wrong with being a stepmother? Can't a stepmother protect her stepchild? My daughter is in poor health. If she had been held hostage, she surely would have died. By exchanging myself for her, at least there was still a chance of survival. Besides, the situation was urgent. How could I have had time to consider all that?" Her instinctive answer made the chief commissioner's entire aura soften. There was an emotion in his eyes that she could not understand. How could Sheng Mimi know that this terrifying chief commissioner was actually her husband, the one far away at the border whom she had never met? When the time came, this hidden identity would naturally be revealed. At this moment, the other pacification office men also caught up. The chief commissioner again resumed his cold and stern manner. "Clean up the scene. There are 2 more by the carriage. Arrest them. All related persons involved in the case are to be taken to the pacification office for questioning." Seeing this, Sheng Mimi became very nervous. It was said that few people who entered the pacification office could come out. He would not suspect her of colluding with the villains and arrest her for interrogation, would he? The more she thought about it, the more frightened she became. Just as she was about to sneak away quietly, the chief commissioner caught her. "You're also someone involved in the case." Sheng Mimi immediately put on a pitiful expression. "Chief Commissioner, I am the victim. I am injured too. If you have questions, ask me here so I can return home early to rest." Under the mask, the man's lips curved slightly. She was rather good at petty cleverness, but his hand released her. "Then tell me everything you know. Start from the beginning." Sheng Mimi began recounting the whole sequence of events. Halfway through, the chief commissioner interrupted. "Why did you quarrel with the Grand Princess?" Sheng Mimi wanted to roll her eyes at him, but did not dare. Was this question a key point? Still, she answered honestly. "Because of the children, we did not apologize. Perhaps we offended her dignity." But those things are not important for now. In short, after I was taken onto the carriage by those 2 men, I heard them say they needed to send word to their superior, and something about the operation at Assistant Minister Zhou's residence failing. The chief commissioner asked again how she had escaped from the carriage alone and what the blood on her was about. Sheng Mimi replied, "This is not my blood. It belongs to the kidnappers. I grabbed their blade, wounded them, and escaped." Oh, right. The kidnappers also mentioned the transaction failing, and that counterfeit coins were buried inside Assistant Minister Zhou's residence. After hearing this, the chief commissioner swiftly mounted his horse and instructed his subordinates. "After dealing with things here, you are responsible for safely escorting her back to the Marquis household." Then he urged his horse toward the city gate. Sheng Mimi let out a huge sigh of relief. Wonderful. Amid misfortune, It was fortunate she had not been arrested and tortured for interrogation. Meanwhile, the Ning siblings in the residence had not stopped crying. "Brother, will Madam never come back?" "No. Stepmother will definitely come back." Ning Jiayue sobbed. "It is all because of me. I caused Madam to be taken away in my place. Madam truly treats us well." Ning Yaoyang also choked up. "When stepmother was here, I was always angering her. But she thought about us in every way. When I was cheated like a fool, she took me along to teach the other party a lesson. In order to make me study seriously, she was willing to go to the woodshed to beg a poor scholar. I failed to recognize people clearly, was toyed with by drinking companions, and was used by the wet nurse who watched me grow up. It was also because she was there that I understood the truth behind it all. In the short time since stepmother married in, she has already done so much for me. But I have never done anything for her. From now on, I will never oppose her again. I will study properly and listen to her as long as she can come back." Just as the siblings were at their most grief-stricken, the voice they had longed for sounded. "Why are you two crying?" The siblings hiccuped in surprise and threw themselves at her. Sheng Mimi hugged one in each arm and comforted them. All right, I am fine. We are all fine." As the two little ones heard others ask how Madame had escaped and saw that she was injured, they immediately pulled out of her embrace and checked their stepmother. "Why is there so much blood?" "Your hand is injured. Where else are you hurt?" Sheng Mimi smiled and replied, "This is not my blood. It is the kidnappers." Fortunately, the chief commissioner arrived in time and saved me. The siblings interrupted, still wanting to ask more questions, but the others said, "Let's not rush to ask this now. Hurry and let the doctor examine her first." Sheng Mimi felt the siblings' closeness to her and raised the corners of her lips. All right. At the pacification office interrogation room, one set of punishments had not even been completed before the criminal confessed. The counterfeit copper coins were buried there with Assistant Minister Zhou's tacit approval. They are under the rockery. Today's transaction was arranged during old matriarch Zhou's birthday to trade with some merchants in the city. "I have told everything I know," the chief commissioner said coldly. "Zhou Dui does not have that much courage. Continue investigating." Who benefits most from framing Zhou Dui? His subordinate acknowledged the order. The batch of counterfeit copper coins buried in the Zhou residence is not large. The style of counterfeiting is different from what we investigated before. The merchants who entered the Zhou residence today are all being questioned. The chief commissioner made a sound of acknowledgement, then asked, "How are things at the Marquis household?" The subordinate replied, "She has already been safely escorted back. According to your instructions, a doctor was also arranged to treat her. They are superficial wounds, nothing serious. It is just that Grand Princess Huaming is very emotional. She does not have any obvious suspicion either. Why not release her?" The chief commissioner thought of how, during Sheng Mimi's earlier account, the Grand Princess had bullied his two children. Was it not normal for a father to avenge his children? So he said, "Do you need a reason not to release her? Just say the people around her have not yet been cleared of suspicion. Check every unfamiliar maid and the like. In short, lock her up for 3 days first." People say true feelings are revealed in adversity. Sheng Mimi's selfless maternal love thoroughly won over Ning Yaoyang and his sister. That evening, Sheng Mimi feared Ning Jiayue had been frightened during the day and might suffer a cold spell at night. She asked Ning Jiayue to stay and rest in the warm room in her courtyard. Ning Jiayue had already wanted this, and when she heard it, she happily agreed. All right. Unexpectedly, the door was suddenly pushed open. Ning Yaoyang stated that he also wanted to stay in Sheng Mimi's courtyard. Sheng Mimi raised her brows. "I am worried about Jiyue's illness. Why are you coming to my courtyard?" Ning Yaoyang replied proudly, "Wherever my sister is, I will be." Sheng Mimi helplessly gave that warm room to Ning Yaoyang, then let Ning Jiayue share her bed for one night. The two lay in the same bed. Ning Jiayue, this cold little ice princess, looked peaceful and lovable after falling asleep. Sheng Mimi looked at her and could not resist reaching out to stroke her face. It felt wonderful. "I truly do not know what your mother was thinking. Such two adorable treasures. Yet she could bear to abandon you." Her murmur was heard by Ning Jiayue, who was pretending to sleep. Her eyelashes trembled almost imperceptibly. She remembered what it looked like for her cousin to be loved by a mother, and what kind of loneliness she and her brother had faced. The whispered gossip of the servants, Miss Jiayue and young Master Yaoyang's mother is truly cruel. The two children are all alone in the Marquis household. I heard they were abandoned as soon as they were born. When the second young master brought them back to the Marquis household, he barely glanced at them before leaving. How pitiful. Their father does not dote on them, and their mother does not love them. There were also the mockery and bullying from other families' young masters and young misses. My mother said you were just bastards who were brought back. Even though her brother argued fiercely, we have a father and mother. My father is simply not in the capital. Those people still ignored him. Then where is your mother? No one has ever seen her. She just does not want you. No one wants you. Although she comforted her brother and said it was all right, that it did not matter if they had no mother, they both knew clearly that they longed for a mother's love. Thinking of this, the little girl suddenly woke in fright. Sheng Mimi instinctively patted her quilt. She murmured, "Sleep. I am here." Scenes of her time with this stepmother surfaced in Ning Juyue's mind. An unprecedented sense of safety surrounded her. The little girl could not suppress the slight curve of her lips. Unable to help herself, she burrowed toward Sheng Mimi's arms. "Thank you, mother. Because of you, my brother and I are no longer children without a mother's love." As for what happened at the Zhou residence birthday banquet, Madame Sheng returned and told Sheng Mimi's scumbag father. Father Sheng's expression was grave, but also somewhat relieved. Such a thing actually happened. The Zhou family is foolish. They actually got involved in such a major case. Fortunately, I did not attend that birthday banquet. Otherwise, if I were implicated and had to make a trip to the pacification office, how unlucky would that be? Madame Sheng began slandering Sheng Mimi again. Master avoided it because he did not go, but second girl offended the grand princess in front of so many people. I tried to persuade her, but she would not listen. When the grand princess bears a grudge against the Marquis household later, she may also implicate our Sheng residence. If I had known this, it would have been better to ruin this marriage than let her marry over as a substitute. Father Sheng snorted coldly. She thinks her wings have hardened. If she is not knocked down a little, she will not know her own weight. Madame Sheng had been waiting for precisely these words. Then I will deduct the monthly allowance of. Make some moves with the farms and estates as well. We must let her know that without the Sheng family, she is nothing. Father Sheng did not care at all whether Sheng Mimi came back. Handle it as you see fit. It was so lovely that Sheng Mimi's heart nearly melted. Most importantly, that form of address carried extraordinary meaning.